All right, we are live. Welcome, YouTube, to Geekery Abides, episode 18, covering Ahsoka's episodes 7 and 8.
Season finale.
Yeah, the finale, the final two episodes of this show. We are here to talk about those episodes. Let's go ahead and hit the intro and get the podcast started on the podcast side.
He who is ashamed of his geekery has forgotten the face of Stan Lee.
You the proud, the geeky.
This is the podcast, Geekery Abides.
Hello and welcome to Geekery Abides. This is our podcast covering all things geeky. My name is Tad, and with me is Peter.
Hello.
We are here strangely on a Monday afternoon.
Yeah.
That's a very different thing for sure.
I had to call an audible.
Yeah, indeed. So we did go to Vegas for our other show, and we were going to live stream straight from the hotel room, but we had some issues with just internet connection. So we actually ended up not being able to live stream either show. We recorded the Dark Tower show, but this one we decided we would kick to today. Even though it's midday, I know it's very unusual, but we wanted to get a live stream for this, as well as get a little bit of extra prep done for these episodes, because we didn't want to shortchange these guys, because these are the final episodes here.
Yeah, we were talking about it while we were down in Vegas, and just like, man, it's going to be rough having to do both shows after. And then we tested the speeds in the internet in the hotel room, and it was just abysmal. And we're like, I don't know if this is going to hold. And so I was just like, why don't we just do it Monday? We both had today off of work after getting back last night. So
Yeah.
let's rewatch the episodes and give it the due diligence, the necessary time and effort for it, since it is the season finale of Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Season 1, we hope lots more.
I hope so. Still, there's no confirmation of any future seasons, but I'm kind of hoping that we're going to get at least another season, if not multiple seasons. At the same time, I'm also kind of hoping that Dave Filoni doesn't just get one movie, but gets multiple movies.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Hello, Carol. Says she's has to work, so she'll listen later, but glad to see we're okay. Yeah, definitely forgot to post any kind of announcement on the YouTube side. We definitely apologize about that, about our audibles and stuff. We posted on the rest of our social media, but missed our the YouTube side. I kind of forgot about the YouTube text option that you can do.
It's the first time we've ever had to do it with this show, so that's where we're like, live and learn, right?
Yeah, indeed. All right, so let's go ahead and hit the email stuff real quick. If you'd like to email the show, you can do that by emailing either of us directly, either Peter at geekeryabides.com or Tad at geekeryabides.com. We alternate episodes. Obviously, these Ahsoka episodes are kind of neutral, but generally speaking, I do the odd episodes, Peter does the evens. If you have any feedback on the episodes, ideas for future episodes, you can do all that by emailing either of us directly. Mine is TADD at geekeryabides.com, and Peter is how it is spelled everywhere outside of Russia, I believe. So no Y's and T's and E's and all these weird letters, like I'm trying to remember how it's spelled in Russian.
I had an H asked one time. Petah.
Oh yeah. That's that's,
and then there's Pita in Hunger Games that also, yeah. Anyway.
Okay, let's go on over to the next thing. Let's see. Do you have any what have you been watching, reading, playing?
Yeah, so I missed some time at work. I finished Ted Lasso season 3. I watched all of Twisted Metal season 1. That's what I've been watching. Obviously Ahsoka as well.
Yeah.
And then I read, finished Harry Potter book 5, started book 6, and I've just been playing 7 Days to Die when I have had time to game. I did start the game called Days Gone,
Uh-huh.
which is a PlayStation exclusive, I believe, but it's also on Steam now.
Okay.
Zombie apocalypse kind of game. So right
Okay.
up my alley.
Yeah.
What about you?
I have, let's see. I've been watching Ahsoka, obviously. I also watched the tail end of Bad Batch Season 2 for Star Wars, as well as I watched the entire run of Tales of the Jedi, which is only like 6 episodes, and they're all shorter episodes. Yeah, so I've been definitely hitting a lot of Star Wars.
Yeah.
I've also started reading the Dark Tower series again. Playing not really a whole lot, although that is going to change because Spider-Man drops here in a couple weeks.
The
So,
second one, yeah.
yeah, so excited for Spider-Man 2. That'll be a lot of fun, but other than that, I haven't been playing a whole lot. And then news-wise, we don't really have any other news other than, and I don't even, actually, I just realized I did not delete the one slide. But we don't have any news. The only news we have is the WGA strike is over. The SAG-AFTRA strike is still going, but the writers have got their deal, got exactly what they're asking for, and now they are back at work. Now let's hopefully they can get the actors cleared up, and it'll be back to business as usual in Hollywood.
Yes. Love to hear it. Love to see that they got what they wanted, especially with like the protection from AI and everything like that. Bump up the minimum number of the required number of writers for a certain episode count.
Yeah.
Is the one thing that I saw. Is those two things were the things that I saw, and I was just like, that's fantastic news. Because I know that was a lot, two of the things that they were really pushing for.
Yeah,
I
sure.
didn't go too far into the details. I don't know if you had time to look in too far into it.
A little bit, but not super heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of knew what was happening, like what the general sticking points were and stuff, but I wasn't following like what was going on in the negotiations and stuff. I know what they were asking for, and ultimately what they got. It was pretty much one of those things that maybe Hollywood should have just given them what they wanted to begin with and saved hundreds of millions of dollars that they've lost.
Yeah.
In this time now with them being shut down.
Yeah,
So,
giving them exactly what they want. They just waited, 5-6 months to do it?
Yeah.
Like, just avoid the shutdown completely and just do it in the first place.
Yeah, it seems like that's what they probably should have done.
Hopefully they learn their lesson for next time there's a contract dispute.
Yeah, hopefully.
I mean, I doubt it, but, fingers crossed.
Yeah, indeed. All right, so next, let's go ahead and move on over to the Ahsoka slide here for part 7 and 8, titled Dreams and Madness, and then part 8 is titled The Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord. Those are the episode titles. Let's see. Sorry, I feel like I just can't hear my stuff very well.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if I've got a cable bad or something, but I can barely hear what coming through the headphones. We'll just roll with it, though. I'm worried about the levels, but it looks like the levels look okay. So, yeah, diving on in here, let's jump right into part 7.
Yep.
Dreams and Madness. So, starting off the episode here, we started off with a shot of Coruscant.
Yeah. First time seeing Coruscant.
Yeah, at least in this show.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Let's see. Or wait, was because I guess previously they were on Home 1 with Shiono and stuff. So
Yes.
Yeah. So this is on Coruscant. That's interesting to me because in the Force Awakens, the capital for the Republic that is destroyed is on Hosnian Prime. And then some of the books that ended up happening, the canon books, established that basically the capital moves with the Chancellor.
Mm-hmm.
So, and in fact, it does actually point out that at one point it is on Chandrilla, which is Mon Mothma's homeworld. So it's very interesting here that we've got a Chancellor, Mon Mothma, and it's on Coruscant.
Probably just hasn't infected that, hey, let's move it to the homeworld.
Yeah.
Yet. I wonder if that goes into effect a little bit later, because we are not that far removed from Return of the Jedi. Not as close to Episode 7 as...
Yeah, we're not all the way there yet, but yeah, it is a very interesting thing. I may have a theory on that as we move forward into the future stuff here. Then we also have the trial board here.
Yeah.
Also, I have to point out here as this is going on, Shiono, if you're an old school listener, is he not Borsk Fela
Yeah.
to you?
Yeah.
And because of that, I'm trying to give him a break because Borsk ended up, he was pretty against everyone constantly, but he ended up kind of getting redeemed in the end. So I'm kind of hoping that Shiano's the same, that he's not like willfully trying to be a dickhead.
Yeah, and I do want to call out one thing I noticed here. It says Trial of Hera and everything. In the scene itself, this is more of a review of what's going on. and he recommends that she be put on trial. So she's not actually on trial. It's more of like an inquisition kind of, well, what's the report? What's this and that and that? Because he actually says in the scene, I recommend that we court-martial her and put her on trial.
Yeah, I think court-martialing in terms of removing her rank. So
yeah.
I think she could have lost everything here rank-wise. So, and then my next note, Carson bringing up Mandalore. This proves definitively that this show is set after Mandalorian Season 3.
Yep.
Some people, myself included, wondered if this show could be set earlier, and we could be moving towards, or Book of Boba Fett, something like that. But this pretty much seals it that we are...
Okay, we got the timeline right in now.
Yeah, the timeline's pretty well locked down now.
Yeah.
Also, on the panel, the Solistin looks different, but I wonder, is that Nine Numb from Return of the Jedi?
Oh, could be.
Has he grown a little bit of facial hair, whatever the hell they may be able to grow? But also, that has to be Akbar as the Mon Cal, right?
It's a trap.
It has to be him, right?
Could be.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, this is a Security Council thing, right? Not necessarily. What if Akbar's like still an admiral? What if he's a senator? You know, we don't know where he went after, so it could be Akbar.
But if this is some kind of hearing, you got politicians. I would imagine you may also have a military.
Well, 3PO says it. It's the Security Council, isn't it? The defense council.
That's what Leia's over.
Right.
That's completely separate from this.
No, that's this. That's what Leia makes the point of saying.
No,
she says you made a vote without me.
No, he's saying that this is all being. There's a big misunderstanding here. Leia's too busy with the defense council, but she greenlit this mission.
Mm-hmm.
So Leia is over the defense. This isn't the defense council. She's over the defense council. It's separate than this.
That's not what I took away from it, because that's not what 3PO said. That's not the message that she said. I'm the head of the defense council, and you had to vote without me. That's literally what he says.
But this isn't the defense council. Because, I mean, these are politicians. What would Mon Mothma have to do with the defense council? Or Shiono? Like, these are politicians. They wouldn't be part of the defense council.
Politicians are part of councils and subcommittees and stuff like that.
I think what it pretty much comes down to,
which would make sense why Akbar would be there. Then, if he's part of the military, you would have politicians.
I would imagine he's like the highest level of the military, like whatever. I mean,
like a cabinet member kind of thing in the U.S.,
like the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he's probably moved so far up that like he's there as like the representative for the military. Not because you also have the Defense Council. I mean, is there another side of that? Is that all of the military? Or is that just an aspect of the military? Like, I don't know. But I do find it interesting that we may have Akbar involved. I mean, I guess Nine Numb is a military person too. So
fought at the Battle of Endor, Part 2.
This is an eclectic collection of people for sure.
Yeah,
you've got the chancellor, which is essentially the highest ranking person. You've got a senator, and then you've got two military people. It looks like. Is that who we had? Was there anybody else? Yeah, there was one other person there, just right of Mon Mothma between her and the Solistin, which I don't know if
do you have pictures? Because we don't have pictures up on screen right now.
I had the one picture I already showed.
Okay.
So yeah, you have the Solistin, you have another human, you have Mon Mothma, which is obviously in an elevated position. You got Akbar, and then you've got Shiono. So yeah, it's definitely. I think this is just like a panel they put together to figure out what the future is. I'm guessing that if he wants like a court martial, I'm guessing what his hope for this would have been is strip her or suspend her of any military.
Yeah, you're on suspension until we have the court martial, the trial.
Because he wants her sidelined for sure.
Yeah.
Because pretty much what she did when directly against him, as she obviously even calls out herself. So then, of course, we get an interruption in the galley, and my boy 3PO shows up. Did you hear him before you saw him? There's a brief, utterance of him.
I don't need to. Excuse me. I don't need to tell you who I am or something like that.
But even before it cuts over to him, you hear like an ooh,
no.
There's something with him where I'm like 3PO, and then it showed him, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it was subtle, but there was a small, and I think you heard his motors too. You heard like that sound they make for his motors as he's moving around. So it was off screen for a split second. Then they show him, obviously. I love that he's like indignant. That he's like, I don't need permission.
Yeah, I can go where I want.
That's very un-3PO like, though, I would say, generally speaking. So that probably shows that he's definitely got some sway being in Leia's entourage, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Because in the old days, I mean, he's the one that's like, oh, we're not allowed in there. We'll be sent to the spice mines of Kessel and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, definitely interesting. Also, this is an interesting strategy to avoid showing Leia at this stage. And then also Chopper was about to commit a war crime on Shiono when Shiono calls. Like, are we really going to listen to a droid? What?
We can't take this kind of evidence from a mere droid. And then the captain just like, no,
Yeah,
little one.
Carson has to hold him back.
Yeah.
I wish he would have just pushed forward a little bit, and Carson like holds him back.
Like physically, like, hold me back.
Oh, I love it. So also, my last note for this section, Leia is the leader of the Defense Council. There is no way that she is not going to be involved with what's coming up with Thrawn. So I do believe 100% they have to recast this role.
Yeah.
I don't think that I do think that Filoni's slowly moving us to that idea. I mean, it's not like it's unheard of, right? I mean, we have Chewbacca's been recast. Mon Mothma in this scene, for Christ's sake, has been recast from the original actor in the original trilogy. You've got Baylan Skull is going to be recast. That's jumping ahead of time.
Yeah, he has to.
But he's passed away. We already have Han Solo recast. We already have Lando recast. Like, I think the only thing you have left is the Skywalker twins, and
we already kind of have Luke already in Mandalorian.
That's
but,
the strangest.
But it's like, is that going to stay? Do we need to have someone actually like replace him? Is he going to be in it a lot?
Yeah,
or is it going to be one scene here in season 2 and that's going to be it, kind of thing?
Here's my thought though: if Luke shows up to help Baby Yoda in that whole situation in season 2. You telling me that 3 other Jedi standing up against Thrawn, he's not going to show up in some way? Like, he's obviously reaching out in the Force and finding people, in, like, Force-sensitive people in danger. Yeah. And we already know he's contacted. He knows Ahsoka. He's going to be involved, I think.
Yeah,
I think
they would, if he is going to be involved, then we should recast him. Not do de-aging or face cover for a stunt double.
Agreed. And if you go and
Although what you said, the stunt double looks exactly like him,
the
right?
Stunt double's insane.
Just cast him then.
Yeah, exactly.
Can he act?
Yeah, that's the question, is if he can act. If he can act, then just cast him. If not, go ahead and get what's his name from the Marvel movies.
Sebastian Stan, Winter Soldier.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
But I do think that that's coming, and I do think that before this is all over with the movies, we will see, because there's like a 25-year period. There's no way that they're just going to leave that alone because they're afraid to, lean into recastings. Like, these characters, as much as I love these actors, these characters are much bigger than these actors. So I'm looking forward to it, and I think it will be coming. So next up, jumping over to Ahsoka. Let's see here. Let's see. Did I have any other? Let me see. Oh, we still have the pictures up. That's. Let me see if I had any other pictures. Oh yeah, I did have Chopper. Getting held back.
Hold me back.
Let's go ahead and jump over to Ahsoka though. She is in there training with Anakin's hologram. So the recorded Anakin hologram is a cool throwback, because we saw her watching these holograms in Rebels, and Ezra saw him and commented on Anakin and stuff. So it's kind of a cool like flashback. In Rebels, it was like a small hologram. This one, it's obviously like full size, but I thought it was a cool throwback to Rebels, and it's one of those things I would have forgotten had I not rewatched Rebels. I would not have remembered that scene with her and Ezra talking about Anakin and stuff. So that's pretty cool. What do you got here? I've got a few notes, but what do you got?
I mean, I had notes on the previous scene too.
Oh, I thought you were done. Sorry.
No, I didn't even get a chance. Yeah.
What do you got for?
The first thing that I like is that Hera said, he says, "You ignored direct orders." She goes, "No, I ignored you."
Yeah.
And see, that line struck me, and this is why I was commenting on the Defense Council and stuff like that. Confusion is because she says she ignored him. Does he have direct authority over Hera? He's kind of making it seem like he does, but that line makes me wonder, what is the command structure here? She's a general. Yeah. He's a senator. Who has the authority then to decide what to do with troops? He's making it seem like she should be court-martialed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But she says that he ignores her. She ignored him.
Yeah.
But then 3PO's line at the end saying that he held a vote, and I just pulled it up just to see it. I was reading the subtitles. I was just seeing if I was crazy. It does not say a Defense Council vote. It just says she is the leader of the Defense Council, so you're right on that.
Yeah.
But he held a vote to not sanction this mission without her, as leader of defense council, she should have been there for that vote.
Yeah, that's the impression I got is that essentially Leia was feeling boxed out on the whole thing. I mean, ultimately, and she's lying too, right?
Yeah, she didn't.
Oh, yeah, I
well,
gave orders.
Hera says it later in the scene to Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
She says like, well,
Mon Mothma.
Mon
says
Mothma's
it.
like,
She-
Leia didn't sanction this. She's like, yeah, she did. Eventually.
Eventually, yeah.
See,
No,
that's the thing, though,
no,
is
she
that
didn't.
yeah, she did and everything like that. But I think
retroactively.
we're getting a little bit of a cross here, and I'm wondering about Ziano. Ziano, is that how you pronounce it? Right?
Shiano, I think.
Shiano.
Yeah.
I'm worried about him being but we see him later in the
Resistance, the
7, 8, and
cartoon.
9.
No, in the Resistance. which is
cartoon.
right in that era. So that's 20 some odd years later, and he's like an old man, and his son is one of the troopers in that show, like one of the rebel or Republic resistance soldiers. Yeah, not even Republic. So
See, and I've never seen that, so I don't even. This is my first taste of this character. So
yeah, but there's a lot of people thinking, oh, he's going to be an Imperial agent. It's like, no, unless he's like playing the really long con, and like 20 years later, he's still a senator. I think I just think that honestly, it's just kind of one of those things, trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, yes, he's going against our main character, but in his mind, like
he's doing. When you look at it from his perspective, like look at just what he's been told. Take being able to watch the episodes and seeing behind the scenes, basically, but seeing what he's being told. Someone who's been disappeared for 5 years, 10 years.
About probably 10 years.
No, 10 years. Yeah, that's right. 10 years.
We're like 8 years after.
And Jason's 10.
Yeah, he's 10, 11. Yeah. So it's
been a decade.
Yeah.
He's just gone. He's dead, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what you assume.
Yeah.
And then you have people telling you that he's coming back and the Imperial long live the Empire. No, that's not it. Come on, guys. Like calm down.
And that's the thing too, is like the whole Thrawn thing, you got to see it from his perspective a bit. Is Hera just waving that banner to get people to go along with what she's doing?
That's what he says. That's what he says.
From
like,
his perspective, it's like you just want to find your friend, and you're just using this Thrawn boogeyman as your way to keep getting resources from us.
See, that's my next note. Is that the line that he says where he's like, I don't agree with you going out and doing this and for your personal gain? What fucking... Because instantly my mind goes to, Hera's not making money off this. Hera's not getting gold or
trying to find her
credits.
friend.
But trying to find her friend, you think that's what...
Yeah,
is that
that's what it is. Ultimately,
is what it is. Okay,
and again, using resources. It's not just her going out with her. Well, and also, I mean, I guess
we did lose pilots in this.
Well, technically,
thing too.
Technically, even if it were just her going out with the ghost, that's still taking resources. She's a general in this military.
Yeah,
she can't remove herself.
General, we need you here. Kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And when we look at like Mandalorian, where they can't protect certain like they need everything they can get. They can't have people just going off and doing their own thing. Like, again, in the Rebellion, I think it was always kind of more loosey-goosey. People can kind of there was a command structure, but there was also like room for people to audible. And I think that like there's probably still people that are trying to do that. And to give him the benefit of the doubt, I know he's a prick and he comes off that way, and I love Hera, she's my queen. But from his perspective, there's maybe still people that are still playing in that Rebellion era and doing their own shit.
Oh,
and
they're
of course
they've
got to rein them in and get them like.
Of course,
this has got to be a structured military, or we're screwed.
We can't be a rebellion once we win.
Yeah,
once we win, we have to become the new republic.
Yeah, we got to be.
We have to be a government. We have to be and he says it. There are rules. You have to follow the rules. You can't just go do what you want like it's a rebellion still.
Yeah.
The problem I have with that is that like the whole personal gain thing really bothered. Ooh, that rubbed me wrong so badly. But the Ezra thing kind of makes sense. That's what it's
like. Yeah, not financial, but more like, your friend's missing. You think he's still alive and still out there, and you're using our resources to try to find. It's a wild goose chase or a wild bantha chase in this universe.
Thank you for appropriate.
Wild bantha chase, and again, using resources that wouldn't really fly in any circumstance. So to try to give him some credit, even though he's going against my queen.
But there is the thing is that you need characters like that to have a well-balanced story. If Hera just got to do whatever she wants, she would have been there to stop that ring being completed, and we would have no plot. Exactly. It makes sense when it comes to that. But as for him being a double agent, I don't like an Imperial. I mean, they planted that seed though in Mandalorian.
Yeah,
that we have Imperials. We have that in this as well.
Oh yeah.
On Coruscant and everything like that.
And I think you might even have some in the Senate.
I don't think it's going to be him.
Yeah, I
think it's too obvious. I think Filoni's too smart for that.
Exactly.
I think he's going to make you think that it's him, and then it's going to be the Mon Calamari. If it's not Akbar, it doesn't. I pulled up the scene to read what 3PO said there. It doesn't look like Akbar. It's a different looking
It
Mon
looks like it. He looks like it to me.
Yeah, okay.
Even his uniform looks right to me. So I think it might be Akbar. Nine Numb, I doubt. That one, because he does look so much different than Nine Numb did. I know 10 years has passed. I don't know how Solstins look when they're... And again, maybe he just grew some facial hair.
Yeah.
It looks like he has some fuzz on his face, which is very strange for
But
Solstin.
the reason why we're focusing so much on this scene, because it is a lot of world building here that we haven't had before.
Yeah.
We jump from 6 to 7, and we have a resistance.
We got a 30-year gap.
A 30-year gap
that
and very little backstory.
Mandalorian has delved into this realm a tiny bit, about 8 years after.
Yeah.
But you still got 20-something years on the other end of it.
Yep.
And we just don't know. And
We don't know.
Yeah.
How did Leia end up breaking away from the Republic to form the Resistance?
I think the seeds are here. I think the whole idea of like the Republic, basically like almost like Chamberlain, in
bury
World War
their
II.
head in the sand kind of thing.
Like they just went through a war. They don't want another one. And I think there will be a point when the Resistance splits off because it's like, you guys aren't going to do what you need to do, and Leia's going to go, hey, I'm fucking out of here. Who's with me? And then the Resistance.
Poe
is born.
Dameron goes.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll get Poe? Well, no, it's too early for Poe.
Too early for him for sure. But I think this is only the seeds. I don't think that's going to happen within the realm of this.
No.
story.
Yeah, I'm just talking like the greater timeline for Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. Like, it is a great parallel, like what you said. And Tad said Chamberlain. For anyone that doesn't know history, World War One, end of World War One, Prime Minister of England, appeasement of Hitler, and would not go to war. No matter what Hitler did, he's just like no.
Yeah.
And everything. So very much what you're talking about is that the New Republic doesn't want a war.
Yeah.
Doesn't want it. The problem is they might have one whether they want it or not. And that's what Mon Mothma asked Hera, like, how real is this? And I loved Hera's line. Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst.
Yeah.
Such a great line to end that scene. And I do love Leia calling out that senator and putting him in his place. That's my last note for that section.
Yeah. She'll be here soon. I actually thought she'd be here in this season.
I really was like, when I saw 3PO, I'm like, okay, we're not going to get Leia, but
I thought at the end of the next episode, I was like, I think we're going to get Leia before the season's over. Because I think Filoni's trying to, like, the what is it, the frog in the slowly boiling pot.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to acclimate people,
ease them into it,
ease them into the recasting, because people are going to react to the recasting of Leia and Luke.
Yep.
I mean, Han already happened, which is good. I would hope that they can get Alden Ehrenreich into this, otherwise they have to recast him again. But
that might be a mistake if they do that.
I just don't know what kind of career he has. I know he's been in some things. I mean, he was just in Oppenheimer. But he hasn't necessarily blown up as like a lead. So maybe they could still rope him in as, I mean,
it's not like Disney doesn't have deep pockets. Pay the man.
Yeah, plus, if you're him, do you not want to play the role of Han Solo
right?
again?
Why wouldn't you?
Having that fur ball behind you at all times and having a piece of junk ship and all.
Hey. Let's not take it too far. All right, back to where we were. Sorry about the tangent there.
I think what it is you always have less notes than me, generally speaking, because I'm just like, I'm too, like, whatever. So I just assumed that we had already hit your notes.
Oh, no,
so
you're good, man.
I
You're good.
apologize
You're
on
good.
that. All right.
Ahsoka training. You were talking about how you saw that in Rebels.
Yeah.
My note here is just the training videos from Anakin is amazing. Not only does he look good, but he also brought that Clone Wars humor with the form of his comment. Did you catch that comment?
Yeah, like
the
train at least more than
practice
me.
these forms. Well, at least more than I do. That is such a Clone Wars humor slipped into Ahsoka, which is a little bit more serious than Clone Wars because it's not an animated cartoon for kids and everything like
and
that.
It goes
but
to
it's
the movie.
it's still perfect for the Anakin that would be recording that.
Yeah, it goes to Attack of the Clones too.
Yeah.
If you practiced as much time on your swordsmanship as you did on your wit, you'd rival Master Yoda as a swordsman.
That's right. Yeah,
I thought I already did. Only in your mind, my very young apprentice. Yeah, which was also a good little tease, saying Yoda swordsman early in the movie to know that later he would actually use a lightsaber.
I see what Lucas did there.
Good
I see
little
what he did.
foreshadowing on
Yeah.
that. So also I got to call out the mention of Grievous, Dooku, and most impressively Ventress.
Yeah.
Of course, Dooku and Grievous had already been seen
On
in
the
live
big
action
screen.
and big screen. But Asajj Ventress, that is only an animated character. So to see live action Hayden Christensen, Anakin Skywalker dropping that name,
Kind of cool.
that was pretty cool.
Kind of cool.
That was cool. Also, he talked of preparing her if they get separated, or quote, if something happens. And also with his haircut, this is obviously recorded early in the war. It just shows how compassionate he is and how much he cares for her. And even pretty early on, he cares for her. He wants to make sure that if he dies, that she won't be unprepared.
Yeah, and the number of the videos as well.
Yeah, 20 of them.
Over 20, she said. 20 or more is what her exact words. I caught that this time. I missed it the first time watching. This time I caught that. And I'm like, oh man, this isn't like a, hey, do this one thing.
Yeah.
No, this is like deep instructions. And for him to do that, that is very selfless of him to take the time and program those, because like you said, if something did happen to him, Ahsoka would still have his instructions to help going forward.
Yeah.
I wonder if those are going to play a part later with any other apprentices.
My note here is also in terms of, you mentioned some humor, but I also wanted to point out he calls her Ahsoka instead of Snips.
Yeah.
I think that's showing the weight of what he's talking about here. He's like,
take it seriously.
yeah, this isn't this isn't jokey, Master. This is like, you've got to take this serious. So 20 of these, so there's plenty more room for Hayden in the future. I love that.
Yep.
But also, what my note here comes along with what you're saying, what I want to see is, I want to see her showing Luke these recordings.
That's what you've been talking about, is her talking to Luke about his dad or something like that. But if she has these recordings and she shows Luke,
show him so he can actually see.
What if Luke learns this stuff
and learns it too?
Yeah.
But like, to see his father, that would be a meaningful thing.
Yeah,
I think.
absolutely.
So, I mean, his father as he was, not charred up, burnt up apprentice or a Vader
or pasty white egg.
Yeah. Exactly. So also, as Ahsoka's putting her stuff away, there's a number of lightsabers in that pod.
I noticed that too.
I think General Grievous would have started breathing heavily if he saw inside.
Are they just training ones though?
I don't know.
Like what Hu Yang was using with Sabine.
I remember thinking to myself that's probably how Ezra is going to get equipped there, because you saw a number of them up on the wall. So it's like, oh, there we go. Ezra can give himself a lightsaber as well. I mean, just I don't know. It's cool because like lightsabers kind of feel limited a little bit. Like it doesn't feel like. I think this may be one of the first times we've seen a shitload of lightsabers just laying around. So
I mean, we saw a lot in the Jedi Temple in Episode 3.
That's true. That is true. Palpatine had them all gathered up.
Probably they took the kyber crystals out of each one of them.
He did.
Did he really?
That's canon that they were, and then he used them in the Death Star.
Oh God! So those kyber crystals were used on Alderaan?
Yeah. So basically, and then there was obviously mass kyber crystal like refinement happening
in Jeddah.
Yeah, and Jeddah and stuff. But essentially, what it comes down to is using the Jedi crystals is almost just insult to injury. Like, I've wiped you out, and now I'm going to make your legacy part of my weapon.
The mass murder of an entire planet.
Like, and isn't that perfect? Like Palpatine just. And to know that he ended up with Yoda's lightsaber too after that duel.
Yoda left it behind.
Yeah, his troops recovered that. So also as we move here, because Hu Yang comes in, says they're getting close to the end of the journey. Ahsoka trolls him when they're back in the cockpit.
Yeah.
I love that.
So funny.
You should have said something. I did.
Yeah, he gets so mad. I actually wrote a note after that exchange. I said Hu Yang was the best choice to be with Ahsoka. No other companion would be as fitting.
No, this is perfect.
No one else. And I is this where Hu Yang was introduced?
No, he was in Clone Wars.
He was in Clone Wars?
In that arc when you have the kids going to get their crystals.
Oh, right.
Hu Yang's the one that's bringing them there. So yeah, he's been around, which is cool.
Okay.
I think it's almost cooler. If he had just shown up in this, I would still like him, but I think it would be a little bit less special just because it was like, okay, you just created this thing that you're now saying is 25,000 years old, has been around for the entire history of the Jedi.
And we've never seen it.
But the fact that Lucas and Filoni created him back in Clone Wars is like, that's fucking badass. To me, anyway.
Okay. But yeah, I don't think I don't think if Chopper was with her, it wouldn't be as fun. Like Chopper, don't get me wrong, I love Chopper to death.
And
but
he's got to be with Hera.
Yeah, he's got to be with Hera, but I also think that 3PO, R2, Zeb, no one else really would have fit here, which is why I love Hu Yang. And the comedy they have between each other, like you just mentioned, the trolling him and everything like that.
Yeah. Should have said something.
I did. David Tennant did a wonderful job voicing him.
That was my last note. No, I'm sorry. No, it wasn't my last note. But I did have a note of that. David Tennant is just a perfect casting job.
He's
here.
so good. I'm liking him more and more with everything that I see him in.
Yeah. Also, I'm glad we didn't see any space whales hurt. I was kind
Yeah,
of
they were kind of just like the mines were. My last note here in this section is the mines were really cool, but no Well's dead. That was one of your predictions, that one of the Wells was going there to die, right?
Well, that's why they should generally travel there.
Right.
So it's like, so did Ahsoka communicate to them and basically say like, hey, go to your graveyard even though no one's dying? Like, because she was like saying like, I don't know where they're
Well, they
taking
were
us.
going somewhere.
Yeah.
So I
And
wonder
and
if she's
she
just
said
like,
she-
no, could we just tag along? And she could tell that that's where they were going to stop.
Yeah. Well, at least none that we saw died.
They didn't show a whale dying on screen.
They didn't show any dying on screen.
Thank
but-
goodness.
Yeah. And of course, Dave could not set up the boneyard, not have a chase through it as well, because that starts to up here as they go in there. So the next section here, we got Thrawn, and then so Thrawn, as well as a little bit of the tail end of the chase. Let's see, picture wise, what if I've missed anything. So yeah, I've got the mines as we go on there. As we come out of hyperspace with the whales, and they come out of the mouth as well, which I also love. Hugh Yang, like, isn't it safer in here? When she's like, we gotta get out of here.
I thought the same thing, but then I realized, nope, they would have been gone with them, and who
Yeah.
knows where they would have ended up then.
Yeah, exactly. Probably our planet. All right. So, my first note in this section is Elsbeth with the Inquisitorial database. That's very interesting. Obviously, she was a what was her title in Mando? She had some sort of I can't remember her title. She had a title that made it feel like she may have actually been part of the the Imperial structure, I guess, or at least post-Imperial, because I don't know if Palpatine would have been cool with having witches in his government.
Yeah.
But she had a title of some kind. I'm blanking on it right now from Mando season 2 that they called her when she was over on that planet and stuff. But yeah, having the Inquisitorial database, it seems like she had access to some Imperial records. So
She did, and that's what he requests, and that's my first note here is that seeing Thrawn talk about learning their opponent, like the whole thing with
Yeah.
Thrawn, from our earliest introduction back in the EU,
Yeah.
is that he studies an opponent,
Yeah.
the culture,
Everything.
like when he was getting ready to go in, and then we saw it in Rebels when he was getting ready to go against Hera for the first time. He studied Twi'lek culture, art, history,
Yeah.
and everything like that.
to understand how they
To understand how they think, and how the people move, and what their decisions are like. How do they decide? Are they brash? Are they brute, like, Wookiees?
Yeah.
Or are they more subtle and cunning, like the Mon Calamari? Kind of, he learns like that way. So to see Thrawn get that data pad to go, her master was General Anakin Skywalker. Are you sure there's one ship? I was just like, oh, he's ready. He's
So-
flipping that switch on, just like the Thrawn that we know,
Yeah.
me and you, for
And
20 years now.
And his oh shit face a
Yes.
little bit there with the
Yes.
Anakin reveal was pretty great. Also, I have to point out, I actually can't take credit for remembering this because it's been a while since Clone Wars, but I did see something on, can't remember his Twitter or somewhere. So him making the one ship reference is actually a reference to Clone Wars. There is a point when the Venerator Star Destroyer for Anakin and Ahsoka tips on its side
and hides the ships.
towards the enemies where they see the top of it, and then as they start getting all their ships out of the bottom of it, and then they turn, and then all the ships are there to so it's basically like a sneak attack where it's like you think there's
Well,
one,
what it is-
and you might even think that it's like disabled because it's not
Yeah,
really,
it's like it comes out and they're like, oh, is it disabled? And then it comes around and goes to the left, and the fighters go to, and it becomes a pincher maneuver.
Yeah.
Which you're not ready for. If a ship just comes out and drops its fighters and then starts to go to left, well, okay, it's a pincher maneuver. We can counter that.
Yeah,
but you don't realize it's a pincher maneuver until it's already, because the fighters are faster. So as soon as it turns, the fighters come out from behind it. I saw a reel about that too. I got it looked up. Morgan Elsbeth's title was Magistrate of Calodan.
Yeah, Magistrate.
Yeah.
So,
Also, it says here that she's force sensitive. Interesting. I would have never thought of that.
I mean, she's
But-
definitely witchy.
I mean, so that's the force, right? That's
Yeah.
is that, does that make, that's it, dude? That's a whole new thing there. We're gonna have to save that and table that for another time.
Yeah.
But them saying that she's force sensitive, I was just like, well, what?
Yeah. So then, let's see. Jedi are good at hiding. They've been doing that for years. I love that. Love that reference. And then my last note for this section: Hu Yang, as they're going through, getting chased in the boneyard, saying they're gonna get pulverized. That's a great C-3PO callback there. Pulverized.
I wonder.
Actually, it's Leia that says
I wonder
it,
if
but-
all droids are programmed to say that.
Well, it's Leia that actually says it
Leia.
originally, but it's 3PO's reaction. that
Pulverized.
Pulverized.
Yeah. I thought my last note here is just that I thought it was a really cool chase.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Also, the tension with the mines. Beep, beep, beep. Dude,
Coming together and
like they
stuff.
activate and everything.
Yeah.
So flying through that, then seeing Thrawn strategizing. But yeah, I think that's the moment in this episode for me is Thrawn's oh shit when he sees that it's Anakin that trained Ahsoka.
Yeah, that was pretty great. So then moving over to the naughty caravan, fallen Jedi watching, and then I call the section Witch GPS as well. Yeah, I got an image here of the them in the caravan. Pretty cool to see the two just kind of chilling. I do have to point out the Emperor died. Well, that's what people say. That had me laughing.
That line bugged me a bit.
Dave's being cheeky. I love it.
Yeah, that line bugged me a bit.
Why?
It took me out.
Why? I mean, I love it because also it fits Sabine. She's always been kind of I don't think she believes everything she hears.
Yeah.
I think she even dating back into Rebels. I just think that she's kind of been that. I wouldn't say like full on like ever the cynic, but I feel like she's often the one that would question things in Rebels and stuff. Where it's like, are we really believing? Like, especially because like think of all the times this Ezra Brink goes to like what's his name, the pirate
Hodor? No.
Hondo. There's Hondo, and there's a few other people that like Ezra tries to. And Sabine's always
She's
one
like, "Are you serious?
Why are we listening to these people? Like,
Yeah.
do we really trust that they're telling the truth?" So I get there's like the cheeky out of universe element, but also I felt it fit Sabine. I don't think it was like out of pocket for Dave to throw that in there. It did make me laugh though, even though I'm not a fan.
I
of
just
the
shook.
Palpatine
I
return.
didn't find it funny. I just shook my head and just like, if you don't mention it, it's better. Like, I would have preferred it not mentioned.
Well, and the other thing too is like, would they really know? I mean, yeah, you're told that he died, but it's just like someone as like powerful and all encompassing as Palpatine would have seemed to those people living in that era. To imagine,
Does Palpatine give off that sense?
I mean,
I never felt like Palpatine went out and like shot Force lightning out of his fingers in public.
No, but
So it's just like
the Imperial. Like the grip of the Empire on that culture and society was so tight. That it's like, I mean, dude, how long? I mean, we're to the point now. People are giving it up because of age, but people thought that Hitler didn't die.
Yeah.
For the longest time, because again, there's just an element of like,
there's that. Well, there's always that conspiracy theory kind of thing that always runs rampant and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just didn't think Sabine would be
down
that line. A doubter, sure, and everything,
yeah.
and also calling out, why are we working with this pirate who's tried to have us killed 3 times? Is a little bit different than, hey, the Death Star blew up. The Emperor was on the Death Star.
Well,
he's probably dead.
Remember, she also wasn't believing in Ahsoka when we didn't know it was Ahsoka yet. When it was Fulcrum, she was the one that was pushing through Hera the hardest. She's like, "Why are we trusting this source you've got and stuff?" So I just feel like, generally speaking, she's been very doubtful of things. So
that's also the Mandalorian in her.
Yeah,
like, that's a very Mandalorian trait.
Very Mandalorian for sure. So I do love it that if there is anyone that would actually be able to say that line and it actually feel right, it's her, because she just has that history of like, I don't know, that's what people say, but okay, we'll go with that for now. But it just feels like her. Also, Ezra name dropping Zeb, who is training recruits.
Bullshit.
The more I've been hearing, the more that it sounds like what they actually built him up for in Mandalorian, like the actual like model and everything, was he was going to be a large part of that Rangers of the New Republic, apparently. So,
which is supposedly
could come back.
Rumored
in some way.
to be coming back.
I think we're going to see. And the other thing is, people brought up Zeb not being in this season. If you pop all your shit in one season, what the fuck do we have for future seasons? When Zeb shows up, if there is a season 2 in season 2, that's going to be a special moment. And we've already had how many special moments in this season? Some people I kind of push back on where I'm like, come on, guys. Like, we don't really need Zeb this season. We've had a lot of things this season.
Yeah.
And Zeb will be really cool next season. And to see them all as a group, because I think that's coming too. Most of the Rebels.
Oh.
Ezra also with no chill. Ahsoka, when she says that, when she says that Ahsoka took her on as her apprentice, he's like, "What? Why?" No chill from him there.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that. What do you got?
Interesting that Sabine's dodging all the questions about how she got there,
Everything.
how they're getting home, everything.
Everything. Yeah.
Like, oh man, that's going to be a tough conversation when they finally sit down and have it, I guess.
Yeah. Indeed.
It was a little awkward, like.
And that was in the last episode too.
Yeah, she refused to answer it when they first reunited and everything, so it's just like, oh.
Yeah. Then we also, I guess I got, let me see what other slides I've got here. I do have the Raiders and the Jedi coming up on the horizon, looking over them there. So to your credit, you thought that the Raiders would end up tied in with the Jedi. So I didn't know. I didn't really have a feel in that one way or the other, but 1 point for Peter on that.
Yep, thank you.
Also, Thrawn asking the Great Mothers to find Ahsoka and not the people at on the ship with scanning equipment. I wonder why. Just seems like
The sensors don't work at the boneyard.
yeah, it's strange.
But no, that's not true because Hu Yang's scanning and finding.
Looking for Sabine.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting to me. And I may have another note that goes along with this. We just got to wait for a little
Okay.
into the next section.
Okay.
Do you got any more of this section?
Just the witches, man.
Creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get a little bit nervous about them. And we'll talk
We'll get
as
there.
we go.
Oh, yeah. So next section, Ahsoka calling out to Sabine, the Chimera firing, and then more Thrawn tactics. So Sabine is hearing...
Is this... Did I miss my note? Is this where... Oh, yeah, this is where he says it. Balin's last line to Shin. Is that here? No. Oh, I'm a little bit ahead. Okay.
We just see them come over the horizon.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
See them, and it cuts away. And
I thought it was under Fallen Jedi watching, but it's under Balin's. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Sabine hears Ahsoka. So again, she's showing more Force aptitude.
Very cool to see the connection still between the two of them.
Yeah.
With everything that happened with her not listening to Ahsoka to destroy the map.
Yeah.
You could see where, oh no, is there a wedge? Is there a break? Is there a gap
and Hugh
between
Yang
them?
calls it out. Is
and
your
everything?
guys' connection even enough? Like
Exactly.
So that's kind of a cool.
Yeah. So to see that really got me like kind of pumped. Like, okay, these two are going to be fine. I think.
Yeah.
I think we'll see what happens when they get together.
We still have a reckoning though.
Yeah, we got to see that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We got to have a reckoning. Also, witchcraft. Is it tracking the ship or the Force sensitive folks? I pointed out in my note here, I find it interesting that it locks onto Ahsoka as she is reaching out to Sabine in the Force. Because before, they start scanning in the previous scene, and then after she starts reaching out to Sabine, then we go back to the witches, and it locks onto her. So.
And my last note here is interesting that they don't bother with Ezra and Sabine. They're focusing on Ahsoka because I think Thrawn's still a little freaked out that we got Anakin Skywalker's apprentice here.
Yeah, oh yeah,
I think he's like that's the bigger threat.
As he should.
He is absolutely diverted away from. And I wonder. I'm going to call it out. Wonder.
He knows who Sabine and Ezra are too. Ahsoka, he knows that she goes back to Anakin, so that's Clone Wars. So it's like, okay, how much has she maybe progressed in that intervening time? Whereas it's like, I kind of know who Ezra is. I know who Sabine is. I dealt with both of them in Rebels. But Ahsoka's kind of a wild card, and then you had the Anakin connection. But you had a prediction. I think you're about to say. But I just want to point that out.
I just think it's a little bit interesting that Thrawn is focusing only on Ahsoka and everything, and not he knows where Ezra is.
Yeah.
He knows where Sabine is. They're together. He knows this.
He knows he doesn't have a location just yet though.
So, but
he knows they're on the planet, but he doesn't know exactly where. But
oh, that's true because it's when Balin's goodbye to Shin, Shin calls it in.
Shin calls it in.
Okay. Okay, that makes it a little bit better.
Yeah. Also, Hugh Yang's incredulity at being found is so great. David Tennant is absolutely killing this. They found us.
Amazing.
Like, he's just Hugh Yang. Like I already said it last episode, the droids in the Disney era have been absolutely 10 out of 10 across the board.
Amazing.
No misses.
Tops. We were talking about this in Vegas.
Yeah.
Off air. You started looking, like pulling out your phone and like looking for a droid that you were like, no, I like that droid. No, I like that droid.
Yeah,
no, I asked you because there's a droid that rubs me the wrong way.
Really?
Yeah, we talked about it. 3PO.
Oh. Just because you like that little trash can instead.
Hey, he's the best thing that's ever happened to the rebellion.
Sure. So then Thrawn doing Thrawn stuff with the tactics. So well done. I think they're even doing a better job with Thrawn's tactician element in this show than they did in Rebels. I don't think we ever felt Rebels. We didn't see him reasoning as hard as seems like we're seeing here. So I'm really appreciating.
I think they're fleshing out the character a little bit more instead of having 20-minute episodes.
Yeah.
We got a little bit longer episodes, so we get a little bit more from the bad guy. And I had a note here about his tactics. As I got a little confused because I thought Thrawn made it perfectly clear last episode or the episode before made it perfectly clear like the priority is to get the hell out of here. Like I don't care what happens with I don't care what happens with them. We just need to go. And so I was a little confused what his priority is. If it's escaping, why are you sending troops out? Like why are you sending shuttles out and stuff like that? It just doesn't make sense to me. What are we doing? Like but I added a note. I went back and I added a note, and it makes sense later, though.
Yeah, indeed.
So,
indeed, and I do actually have a picture. You are covering Enoch with your little bubble there, but we do see Thrawn and Elsbeth over the map. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I love that stuff. So we move on to the next section then.
Yeah, and just honestly, my one note for this is two notes for this. I love the shootout. The shootout was great, but that line from Balin to give to Shin. That's a great Star Wars quote.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Impatience for victory will guarantee defeat.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And I have known that. I have a couple things before. I wonder what the Raiders and the Naughty relationship is in general. Mm-hmm. Like, I wonder, are they like constantly like hunting for each other? Not hunting for each other, but is it like a cat and mouse game with the two? I can't imagine this is the first time they've encountered them.
I don't think so. The Naughty seem like they're pretty peaceful. Also, they don't seem like they have a lot of stuff that the Raiders would necessarily want. And I think the Naughty popping up with the slingshot and firing is indicative of a first-time opponent. Because if he knows it's useless, why would he do it?
Yeah.
So that's personally, that's where I'm leaning, is that I don't think they ran into each other very often. Also, we know the Naughty are very, very good at hiding.
Yeah, as I'll say, but is the cat and mouse game, is the Raiders one of the things they're on the move because of?
Oh, yeah,
right?
probably. Yeah, absolutely. Probably the Raiders will take whatever they want from them. I just don't think that they ever have a chance, probably. Ezra says that they're constantly on the move, that it's not safe to stay in one place too long.
Yeah.
So.
And then moving to the Shin and Balin stuff, I think Shin is very hurt by being cut off from Balin here. The way the actor is playing it,
yeah,
I don't think she's liking this very much. Also, yeah, he points out the ambition, then he also points out when she's kind of questioning him, like, you're not going to come with us, or whatever, you won't be part of it. And he points out her ambition, which we actually saw in the previous conversation in the previous episode. Mm-hmm. Whatever is driving him seems a little bit maybe more metaphysical. Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem as in this world potentially as like empires and republics and stuff.
Well, he mentioned like I'm looking for an end to all of that.
Something bigger. Whereas she seems driven by power. So I love that he's calling that out. That like we got to split here because you and I are on different paths. You have different desires and stuff than I do. So I think it is interesting though, because it does seem like he wants her to find a good place in the new empire though. Mm-hmm. So it's like he is still looking out for her for sure. Also, yeah, you mentioned the lesson that he gives her. It's something I will keep in mind because I have a feeling it's not only reflects the past with things like Luke going to Bespin or Palpatine throwing all of his eggs in one basket to try to wipe out the rebellion quickly at Endor. But I also have a feeling that this could have some implications for Shin and possibly Thrawn in the future. So that'll have to echo through time.
Need to write that one down and keep it. And,
indeed.
And put it away in the. Let's watch season 2 and see what comes up.
Yeah. If we get a season 2.
Hey,
hasn't been confirmed yet.
Don't say that.
We talked about the rumor that they started developing it before the strikes, but nothing official has been released that we're getting a further season of this. And precedent-wise, outside of Mandalorian and now Andor, most of the shows in the Disney era have been one and done. So we'll see. I do think season 2 is coming.
Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Bad Batch does have 2.
Yeah, animated, but
yeah.
And even Andor, like honestly, if Andor didn't get the response that it got, I don't think it would have got. I don't think it was meant for a second season. Not that it's like it's cut off. It just I think they designed it for like, let's just hit this, do the couple episodes, and it was so beloved by people. They're like, let's do another season.
Well, if you like it, we'll do it.
Yeah, that's my theory. I don't think that was meant to be 2 seasons.
Gotcha.
It's not like long term. They're like, we're going to do 2 seasons of Andor. No, that was like Andor. And then it was like, oh shit, we just found gold. Let's do another season.
Let's make more money.
And they've got plenty of story to tell. There always is in
Yeah.
Star Wars. Also, it's interesting that Thrawn seems to hold Balin in high regards for in his tactical calculations. Perhaps it's from what he knows of him as a general in the Clone Wars.
Saying we're missing him.
Well, no, before that even, we're like, because he's talking about whatever. He kind of says a line in the sense of like, I can't remember the exact line now, but he says something. Because you're talking when the battle's actually going on. I'm talking beforehand. He says something, and he actually calls out Balin as part of like the battle, the upcoming battle. He says something about Balin to kind of put some weight on him, where it's like he's important. He's
Okay.
Whatever. And
I don't remember that. So
yeah. So, and again, or maybe it is even just the fact that he was a general, because again, that puts him at the level of Obi-Wan.
yeah,
and
we did
Anakin.
talk about that, where it's just not like another random Padawan survived.
Yeah.
This is a general from the Clone Wars survived.
Yeah. So maybe that's why he's looking at him as like, because it was interesting, because that line struck me, because earlier, a few episodes back, it felt like Thrawn was just seeing the mercenaries, quote unquote, as disposable. But then here in the line that I'm not remembering the exact wording of, he's very he points out Balin in a way of where it's like, oh, especially because of Balin or whatever. So,
Is this where he says that we're missing one mercenary?
No, that's later when the battle
That's
starts.
later, okay.
It's before the battle starts. So I love the as we're moving on now. I love the naughty using the and not in the next section. Just moving to my next note.
Yeah.
I love the naughty using the slingshot, and it has no impact. Also, remember Ezra had a slingshot
Sure
in Rebels,
did.
an energy
On
one.
his wrist, yeah.
So it makes me wonder: was that a weapon introduced to them by Ezra?
Could be.
Very
Absolutely.
we already have history of him with.
So
that,
maybe that's what happened is Ezra introduced him to it, but he's kept him on the move, so they haven't crossed the Raiders for a while.
And
So this is the first time he's used it,
and
and
it just bounces off.
doink.
Hey, I give him credit for trying the splat move though on the one. The guy
Yeah.
barely got the one Raider barely escaped that. When they tried to slam the 2 pods together, it almost squished him.
Yeah.
Squished him like an ATST on Endor. Also, one of my just a slight aside, I did see something on Twitter where someone's like, with all the stuff that they had ready for the Battle of Endor, the Ewoks did not build all that in that time. They were building up to fight the Empire.
Oh
themselves.
yeah, they were hungry.
Yeah, well, that probably. But. And then my last note for this section, I appreciate that Ezra turns the whole caravan around and circles the wagons for one disabled vehicle.
Very Rebels.
Very Jedi as well of him.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's almost like counterintuitive, right? Because it's supposed to be the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, as
Mm-hmm.
Spock would tell us. But he's throwing that aside. It's like, nope, we're going back. We can't
Yeah.
leave one behind. So
I think the big thing there also that can be takeaway is when you have such a small group, one caravan, that's critical. I
Yeah.
mean, you lose that, it's like think
yeah,
about
if you got 30 and one of them's gone, that's a percentage.
you're
of
just
your-
weaker, and if
Yeah.
you're weaker, you have a stronger chance of dying.
And it's probably not 20. I guess I'm guessing it's probably more 15 to 20.
Yeah.
from-
So everyone counts in that instance, especially we don't know what that guy's profession was. What if he was the mechanic?
Yeah, it could have been someone.
I'm not saying that it changes with Ezra, no matter who it is, but when you have such a small group and stuff like that, each one counts. It's kind of like you know what it reminds me a lot of with like a smaller group like that. It reminds me of oh shit, I just spaced on his name. The leader Caesar in Planet of the Apes.
Yeah,
No, we can't kill other monkeys, no matter what.
yeah,
Like, don't kill other monkeys. Like,
yeah,
that's our. We need every single one of us.
yeah,
And I feel like that's what it is with Ezra here, is that it's not only is it a Jedi decision, but it's also a smart tactical decision, because you can't afford to just lose and lose and lose.
yeah.
You got to make a stand and everything.
Yeah,
And also, what a better time to make a stand than when you have Sabine with you?
yeah, indeed. All right, you got anything else in this section?
No, that's it for me here.
Okay, so then moving on to the next section here, I do have a picture here. Just in case there was any doubt, when Ezra is telling the naughty to lock the door, we see Sabine's howler in the pod.
Didn't die.
So he is safe.
He's safe.
He is safe. That I know there's a lot of people that were losing sleep, wondering if that howler was okay.
My wife was one of them. She loves that guy.
Yeah, I mean he's great.
He's cute.
He's great. So next up, Hugh Yang and Ahsoka back and forth talking about Jedi rules and getting things wrong, and feels very getting things wrong and feeling terrible about it is brilliant. I love these two together. Just
Like I said, no better companion.
no, it's great. And then Ahsoka doing the tuck and roll.
Get out, Grandma. Tuck and roll.
Doesn't that feel very Anakin too?
Oh, dude, my note is just awesome entrance by Ahsoka.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, absolutely perfect.
Indeed, and if nothing else in Anakin, whether it's Anakin or Vader, he was always about the entrances.
Yeah.
He
is very dramatic, very flair for the theatrics.
Oh, indeed, like in Rebels when he is using the Force to fly his TIE fighter and then standing on top of it. So
absolutely.
So he can come up.
So like it comes down in with so menacing.
Well, it was coming up in Rebels when Ezra's up on the ledge of the thing, and then the TIE fighter comes up with Vader on top of it. It's one of my favorite things, and it makes me laugh because it's like it shows some humanity a bit with Vader. Not that it's like whatever, because it's just a flair for the dramatic.
Yep.
Like he couldn't have just like
landed and walked.
God, I don't know. Yeah.
Walked like a peasant.
Yeah, and then we get a showdown here. Balin is cutting her off. He says he cannot allow Ahsoka to interfere. I think that he and Thrawn realize that Ahsoka is a fucking ringer and will upset all their plans.
That's why both of them are focusing on her.
They're focusing on her. Also, I have a feeling that Balin sees Ahsoka as the only true threat to his Shin's life. She is quite capable, but not enough to take on Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So there's probably an element of like wanting to protect his apprentice, much like Anakin earlier with the recordings.
Yep.
You know, because I don't know, because he's going to do his own thing. So would he really care about Thrawn's plans? In my mind, probably not.
I don't know.
But
yeah,
Shin, he cares about.
He does.
So there's, as I watched that scene a couple times, I'm like, this is 100% about Shin. He doesn't want her getting taken out, so he's gonna hold Ahsoka back as long as he can, or kill her potentially, which he almost did the last time.
Yeah.
What notes do you have here?
My next note is where the fight starts.
With Balin and Ahsoka.
Well, that one, it's one of those ones where like they hit one time and then it cuts away to the next fight.
Away, yeah.
So it's my notes for Balin and Ahsoka are
later
in the actual fight.
All
so
right.
my next notes
my next notes into the Ezra section too.
Yeah. How did you feel about Ezra refusing a weapon?
I love it,
dude.
So what?
I came here for lightsabers and blasters, man. I didn't come here to see force foo, as you call it.
No, I love it. So my note: Ezra refusing lightsaber is 100% a shot at people that have been bitching about The Last Jedi for 6 years now. With Luke throwing the lightsaber, I just feel like that's Filoni prodding at all those people that have been bitching about that since 2017,
saying that he shouldn't
for him refusing the lightsaber, and ultimately it is his lightsaber, right?
Yeah.
But I also love it too. Is my secondary note. I had to point out the out of universe stuff, but in universe, I love it because honestly, what's he been doing for over a decade?
Yeah,
he's been using just the Force. Like that's his weapon now. Like he doesn't need the lightsaber, and he does say it's yours too. You know,
yeah.
Because there was a debate earlier in this season I've seen some people having where it's like, is that that's Ezra's lightsaber? She's just using it and stuff, and it's like
no.
You know, and Hugh Yang calls her. He's like, no, you made adaptations to it. It's your lightsaber.
Yeah.
So I love that. Where he's like, no, it's yours, and I love seeing it because we don't see very many Jedi do that. It's
just the Force.
It's pretty unique to use just the Force, and like I love it because that's the kind of thing I would have done like on Knights of the Old Republic or something. Is just Force pushing, and you know, not always using my lightsaber. I'd use other things, so I do appreciate it. Let's see. Then back to Ahsoka and Balin. Or do you have more?
That's my next note's there.
Okay. So then he's still physically more imposing than her. There's a couple times where he's kind of getting the better of her because of his sheer strength, but she is not unbalanced like she was the first time. So she is holding her fucking own. Unlike the last time. Last time she was just getting dominated. He was just absolutely wrecking her. Like it was not. It was like Ezra and Vader. It looked that lopsided.
It was lopsided.
And this
time it's like,
it's
oh.
not. There's a couple times she gets driven to her knees at one point because he's a big motherfucker. He's an imposing dude.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that return to balance because she was off balance, so she went into that one and she never.
And I think a large part of that is that she thought Sabine was hurt.
Yeah.
So
or dead. I mean, she didn't know. She was worried about it exactly. So, And
then also worrying about the star map and everything like that.
Yeah.
Here, the only thing she has to worry about is that. Do you think she went into that fight planning the drop by Hu Yang, Or do you think that was just oh, here he comes, I'm going to use it?
Yeah, probably.
You think it was more of what's it called?
impromptu?
Like she just decided it on the fly?
I think so.
I think it was planned.
Yeah.
I think it was planned. I think she knew that he was she could see that he was in his way, and that she's like, all right, I just got to wait for Hu Yang. Because I think when you look at the fight, especially the second time through, I don't think she's throwing her best punches. I don't think she's trying to win this fight. I think which is why she goes to her knees a couple times. It's like, I just got to keep him. Oh, he's winning.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got I'm
Right.
winning again, kind of thing. And then she's just like, she doesn't have an element of surprise when she looks over his shoulder and sees the ship. She's like, oh, it's time. Yeah, I don't have to beat you, boom. And then she's gone on his howler.
Yeah.
So I get the sense that she was stalling him, waiting for Hu Yang to flip a Yui and come back and drop some bombs on him. So
Yeah.
I think that it was very smart. And the thing is, that's a tactical move. You got to get these troops back together. You got to make sure that they're okay. Make sure nothing happens to Ezra or Sabine, and get back to them because Shin's bearing down on them.
Yeah.
Balin's just a delay tactic.
Yeah.
So I think she flipped it on his head and made it so that she was delaying him while he thinks he's delaying her.
Yeah.
So I think it's 4D chess by Ahsoka here.
Could be. I also want to point out the balance I was referring to. I also forgot to mention that I think all of episode 5 was about her regaining balance.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The imbalance, a lot of it comes from Anakin. So
Yeah.
the fact that she was able to come to peace with that is why I think now she has the balance to stand up to him.
And training videos helped. I think she pulled that one out particularly for a bigger opponent who's stronger than you.
Yeah.
I think that she pulled
Which
that out
would have been
because
all three of those
which
that he
was
called out. Yeah.
exactly that's exactly what I was about to say. Is that Ventress, Dooku, and Grievous,
yeah.
all three of them would have overpowered, especially
14
Clone Wars
yeah,
snips.
14-year-old
Ahsoka.
yeah.
Absolutely. So I think that's where she went to. She went to the training knowledge that Anakin has used, and she's watched this before, so she's like, I need a refresher.
Yeah.
And she pulls out and she goes right into that form. I think she was just stalling him so she could get past him.
And then let's see, Ezra getting a haircut.
Yeah.
I love that because also it's his humor, but also it shows how close it was. Also, he's holding her blade back at one point for a bit. I love that a lot.
Did you notice her blade? I have a note here about that.
What's that?
Did you notice her blade? When he force catches it, it looks like Kylo Ren's.
Oh, it goes
unstable.
unstable.
It goes unstable, and I'm like, oh, Filoni, you son of a bitch. These lightsabers are not as stable as like Ezra's or Sabine's that are crafted with like Hu Yang or Kanan's instructions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
These are ones that were crafted by them with spare parts and stuff like that. So we never got a hint of that with their lightsabers ever. But when Ezra catches hers, if I could pull, if you had a shot of it, I could show you. Absolutely, it catches, and it looks exactly like his, like unstable and everything.
Okay, I don't think I have a screen grab of that moment. But I do have to my next note here as we move back to Ahsoka. She does get her blade to his neck, but his hand is on her hand. I wanted to point out she got the blade to the neck kind of like Anakin, but he is kind of controlling her hand, so she doesn't actually have the ability to beat him there. And he says that. He's like, you can't beat me. She's like, perhaps I don't need to. So, yeah, and then also as she gets away, the regret and sadness on Balin's face convinces me for sure. He thinks that Ahsoka escaping here is potentially the end of Shin, but he does not go to help. Whatever, and he even has that moment of looking both directions.
Yeah.
But he chooses the other direction. So whatever the hell his goal is, he finds it more important than even his apprentice that he does value and cares for, obviously.
Yep.
So, what you got? Anything else this section?
Last note.
We do have to speed up a tiny
bit.
bit.
Let's go. Last note here is the dropships are the ones from Rebels. The wings folding down and everything like that. So
yeah,
cool little attention to detail.
Yeah. Let's see. Next up, let's see. Into this next section, reinforcements arrive. Ahsoka arrives. Thrawn retreats. So I do love Sabine going full Mando against Shin. Before the stormtroopers show up, she's using both the lightsaber, but then she uses the flamethrower and stuff. Reminding me of Rebels when the Mandalorians were giving her the Mandalorian stuff to fight fight Ezra when they're training, not really fighting. But also Ahsoka in for the save, very Gandalf-like once again. Ahsoka proving to be very Gandalf-y.
Also, is that the first time you ever see 3 stormtroopers get force pushed at the same time?
I don't know. On
Droids,
screen, maybe.
droids, yes.
Yeah, droids quite a bit. Yeah.
Droids quite a bit because they seem like they're a little bit, especially like the smaller droids. What are they called? B1s?
Yeah, B1 battle droids.
B1 battle droids are a little bit smaller. But Ahsoka just yeets 3 of those troopers across the yard. Like, holy cow.
Yeah. And then, let's see.
I have to call it out. Hugh Yang with the comedy gold. They're all back together. I hope I live long enough to see the outcome.
I didn't find humor in that. I'm like, you don't even say that. Don't even say that. I will not accept any harm to come to Hugh Yang. And then
He's already been accosted once in this series.
It's true. Thrawn, I love his line saying it's like the Jedi of old.
Yep.
And then saying that Ahsoka, it's all acceptable because Ahsoka's lost the one thing that she can't lose. It's time.
Time.
So, and then I do have an image as well as we see the counter, the brilliant little counter of the cargo as it's filling up. So, got that ticking clock a little bit. So, and that's what you were referring to earlier.
That's what I was referring to earlier. Literally, my note says, again, what is Thrawn doing? Like, attacking and stuff like that. Oh, we're not done loading. I see. Literally, that's how I put my note in here, is that, okay, so that's what it was. I also want to point out here is that during this second battle with, like, the troopers and everything, Ezra abandons the whole force foo thing and grabs a blaster. I'm like, just grab the lightsaber to begin with, dude.
Well, no, I think it's because I also think he probably knows the Raiders and he knows he's capable.
Yeah.
But once you get a couple fucking squads of stormtroopers showing up, that changes the
Are
equation.
they okay? I've been calling them troopers. Are they stormtroopers?
I know they're calling
For
them,
lack of a better word.
What are they calling them? Night troopers or dark troopers? No, it's night troopers.
The night troopers, and then there's a couple dark troopers in the
There
next
is dark
episode.
troopers, yeah, but they're stormtroopers though ultimately.
Yeah.
So I think that changed the equation on it a bit, where it's like, okay, there's a lot more going on now. It's time to grab a blaster and start using it.
It's the danger level's upped.
Yeah. Also, some folks wanted to think the stormtroopers were zombie troopers. This is into the last section here. But no smoke is coming out of them at this point. Just like in the previous fight, no smoke. As well as the voices sound normal, the few that you hear talking. So yes, these are just troopers with fucked up armor. There was people that have been trying to say, oh, the witches have probably raised this whole army. And I'm just like, I was always against that because I'm like, why would Thrawn say that he has a limit on troops if they were just raising shit for him?
Yep.
So I was always against that idea. So I'm glad it's being proved here where it's like, no, these are just troopers. Like they got fucked up armor.
They get killed.
But they go down, they're talking, they're running. Like that's definitely not no zombie witch trooper, whatever you want to call it. So then Ahsoka asking Shin for her weapon. Got Ahsoka there standing up. We're covering Ezra and Sabine a bit, unfortunately. But hey, Ahsoka, the star of the show, is not covered, so that's good.
Titular character, right?
Indeed. And Shin obviously not happy being asked for her weapon. And then I thought of you immediately when Ahsoka said that she could help her, indicating that maybe a redemption is possible. I don't know. It's the first.
I literally put 2 notes. Glad to see them back together. That line from Ahsoka, and she's like,
"Oh yeah, I guess the reunion too.
The reunion's here." And she's like, "And miss this," and just goes and hugs Ezra. That was a great slash comedic slash like moment.
Yeah.
I loved that one. And my last note here is just what's going to happen with Shin is actually very intriguing to me going forward.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
That's all I got for part 7.
I do have the hug there too. Also, Sabine saying she thought she was dead, and then after the hug, Ezra's like, "Wait, you thought she was dead?"
Yeah.
So
she purposely did not fill in Ezra with any details, did he?
Any of the gaps? No. All right. So yeah, that is it for this episode. Let's go on and jump on over to part 8: the Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord.
Which is got
to be careful with that name there. I keep wanting to say it incorrectly.
It's probably the best title in this entire series.
So
I freaked out, dude.
You're teasing ahead a tiny bit, but I was going to ask you about that because I can imagine. I haven't even looked, but I can imagine there's some different reactions to that. But let's jump into the.
Okay.
We'll get to the title at the end of this first section. So this is the cargo transfer complete, the ritual, the Blade of Talzin title card. So Yeah, we've got the cargo being loaded once again. Very coffin-like things being loaded up, and they're yeah, it's been going for a while. We know it was 3 rotations, so 3 days worth of loading cargo constantly.
Almost done now, right? Or they are done.
Getting close to done, yeah.
Okay.
Getting close to done. So a lot of talk about the cargo. It is not the main thrust of this season's story, but I think it's going to be big for the future, whether it be a future season or the Filoni movie or movies.
I mean, it's Chekhov's gun at this point, right? Like something has to pay off with this.
Yeah, we don't know what it is, but there's something. It's been alluded to, but again, it's never been the main thrust of this show, this season. I think it's setting us up for something in the future, so I can't wait to see what that might be.
Yeah.
Eye of Sion interlocking procedure. So I was right about it being a hyperspace ring for the Chimera.
Yep.
I don't think that was that far of a jump of a prediction, but just the second I saw a ring, I'm like, hyperspace ring.
Yep.
So I'm glad to see that.
We've seen
off.
it before in Star Wars, so it's not far fetched.
Yep. Even though flying is for droids. According to Obi-Wan.
That's fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi.
So then Thrawn sending 2 TIE fighters to engage, but pushes back on Elsbeth for underestimating the Jedi, and as well as Rebels. He says he will not do that again because he's even done it.
And
he says there's a lot of Imperials that have underestimated the Rebels and Jedi, and he's like, and I've even done it. It's not happening again. So good on Thrawn because he's learned lessons.
Yeah, this is my note here. As I said, good on Thrawn to put respect on the Jedi. So many Imperials and so many other enemies of the Jedi don't. It's like they've lost their status in the post-Empire, post-Episode 3 world, post-Clone Wars world, where, the Jedi are dead, they're nothing, and stuff like that. I mean, even look at some of the people that are like, you're a Jedi, in like Rebels and stuff like that. Nice to see someone who actually puts, put respect on that name kind of thing.
Yeah, or Bib Fortuna, he's no Jedi.
Yeah, no, it's just like so many times are just like there's characters that just are even more doubting Luke is even a Jedi there. But there's even ones that are just like, Jedi, what can you do? Kind of stuff. And so it's nice to see, especially an enemy of a Jedi, put that respect on there because that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because that means that they're not going to be able to surprise them like he's talking about. Even he got surprised by a single Jedi.
Yeah.
So he's not going to make that same mistake again. And I love that because that is such classic Thrawn. I'm not going to keep making the same mistake over and over again, which so many Imperials do.
Exactly.
They're so arrogant a lot of times. They're thinking they're the best and everything like that, and no one can ever beat them.
Yeah. Pure arrogance.
Yep.
Then the Great Mothers are going to give the gift of shadows to Elsbeth for her work in making all this possible. And then as that begins, I got a picture for that. Very spooky shit going on here. A bunch of chanting and glowing stuff. Yeah, witches. As Shin points out, the most obvious.
More witches.
More witches.
We literally get another witch right here. So,
indeed. So then the Blade of Talzin is called out as well. Of course, Mother Talzin was the main shaman witch on Dathomir in the Clone Wars. So that's kind of a cool throwback. And I also might note here, so now the, quote, survivor that Elsbeth was is now actually a Night Sister.
Yep.
Because we've been saying, is she a witch? Is she whatever? And even she was asked that, you're a witch? I'm a survivor. Well, now, no, she is.
Nope, now she's a witch.
She is 100% a...
Night Sister is what the official title is, right?
Yeah, exactly. Night Sister, Sisters of Dathomir. I have an image of the sword as well, the Blade of Talzin. Yeah.
So cool.
What do you got here in this?
Just this right here, this, and then the title card note. This is one of the coolest weapons I've seen introduced in a while in Star Wars. As awesome as some of the stuff in Mandalorian is, like the Beskar and everything like that, I am all about things that go one-on-one with lightsabers.
And if I remember right, there was a point that Filoni wanted to kind of replicate like vibroblades, which would be like metal that could sustain lightsabers. And Lucas told him no, and that created the Darksaber. Lucas, that the middle ground was the Darksaber. So now here's Filoni. Now that Lucas is out, and he's like, "All right, I'm bringing it in anyway."
But it makes
there's witchcraft
but it
involved
makes
too,
sense.
right?
It's not just some random sword that someone can buy on Coruscant for $50, kind of thing.
Exactly.
So that's the thing that's nice about this and I like that it has a name.
Yeah.
Like it's old school and it has a name for a sword and like it's so perfect looking. Also, I wanted to ask you by note here, what do you think about the design of the sword? A little bit samurai-ish feel to it, you know.
I liked it.
I thought it was
liked it.
I thought it was really cool to have the curved blade and everything like that.
Yeah.
As well as the hilt and everything. I thought it was a nice change of pace versus like a broadsword looking thing.
Yeah.
Would have felt kind of
And it wouldn't
to
have
me.
fit her either.
No, it does. It wouldn't
Or
have fit
sisters
her.
in general.
Or the
Like,
sisters in general.
Yeah.
The little bit lighter sword, the little bit more agile to move with it and everything like that. So that's why I wanted to call that out as like very well designed weapon here.
Yeah.
Also the special effects with like the green flames and stuff
green,
like that,
yeah.
as well as like the stuff that happened to her face. You had it in the picture a couple back.
Yeah.
Was amazing to look at.
Yeah, it was great. I love Thrawn watching all of this as well. It seems like he's the kind of character we know. He's the kind of character that wants to understand as much as possible. So I think he's getting enlightened here.
I think he knew exactly what was going to happen. I think he knew that this was going to happen to her and everything like that. He probably is the one that suggested it and everything. He's made a pact with these
But
witches
he
to do
probably,
something.
yeah, but he probably wouldn't have seen this ritual before. So I just love that he's
No,
that he's watching
Yeah.
because it just feels very Thrawn to like, I got to see this.
Yeah.
Like he's not going to walk away and give them their privacy. No, he's going to sit there and watch. Like this is, I've got to see this. So.
I want to know how this works.
And then we got the title card.
Then the title card. Sorry, I jumped ahead on that one.
No worries.
Lion. Oh, nope, not that one. Whoopsie. I love the play on the Lion, the Witch, and the
Lewis.
Wardrobe. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I agree. I loved it. I wondered what you would think. So I'm glad you liked it as well. I know that some people, I can imagine, I don't know. I can imagine some people weren't keen on it just because it's whatever. I
Yeah.
loved it though. Although the one bone I do have to pick with it though, to relegate Thrawn to a warlord, I take offense to that. He is a Grand Admiral. They need
Grand Admiral and what?
they need to put some respect.
Sorry, what's
on-
Grand Admiral and what?
They need to put some respect on
In
his
what?
name.
He's a Grand Admiral of what?
Of the Imperial.
Of what?
Remnant.
The Imperial what? Which Imperial? What empire is he serving again? I don't remember an empire. I remember a New Republic.
We'll
Yeah,
we'll
he's a
see.
warlord at this
Nah.
point, sir. He's just a
no.
war. He has one ship.
For now.
One ship.
For now.
Warlord.
For now.
Warlord.
So then moving on to the next section.
Genghis Khan had more troops than him.
Well, he had a lot of troops.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is the convoy lightsaber build Ahsoka Sabine conversation. This is the next section. This is the safest Anadi have probably ever been in their existence, is my note. Having this ship flying above them, like that's just, I know it's as safe as they've ever been. That's a well.
I know, but they had the one that looked nervous. He's like,
Yeah, but it's a well armed ship as well as the people that come along with that ship. They're safe right now.
they're well off.
the best they've ever been, probably. And then also moving into the lightsaber section now, I could watch a character build a lightsaber all fucking day. It's so fascinating. Also, this is the first time we've ever seen it in live action. We did see Luke tweaking what was probably him finalizing his build in a deleted scene for Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
But this is the first time that we've seen a live action lightsaber build. So it was really fascinating to watch. I'm sure you
Really
were geeking
cool.
out on it too.
Really cool. Also, the conversation back and forth between Hu Yang and Ezra was just like,
You don't have a system.
you don't have a system. And then Ezra also snapping at him, just like, no, that's not gonna work. Like the blade's too narrow. And he's like, what do you mean? Like getting all like haughty with him. Like,
I do have to point out that's a cool wink and a nod. The blade emitter's too narrow. It's a killer wink at the fans. There was a huge complaint about the blades in Rebels being too narrow. So Dave is being another cheeky bastard here for that line. So I love that. That was great.
But that's how Kanan did his lightsaber, because as soon as he reveals that Kanan was his master, am I jumping ahead?
No,
Okay.
but I don't think they're eating. But it's a stylistic choice. Because even in Rebels, when you saw Vader and everyone else, the lightsabers are super narrow.
Yeah.
And there's people that bitched about it because it's just
okay.
like stylistically, Clone Wars wasn't that thin. Live action's not that thin. Why is
Okay.
Rebels blades? Why are they all so thin? It's not even just like Kanan's. It's all of them. It's like you can't show me Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, when you watch that scene with him and Maul, like it's so much more narrow than you've ever seen anywhere else.
Oh, okay.
It's a stylistic choice. I've never had an issue with it. But I think Dave here is just winking at people where it's like it's too narrow. So I love that. I also love Hu Yang telling Ezra he's been teaching younglings to build lightsabers longer than he's been alive, but that is the understatement of the century.
Like 25,000 years.
Yeah, it's like, what is Ezra, 25? It's like in his probably 20s, because he was like
mid 20s.
maybe late 20s.
He was 15,
I think he was
16?
17 by the end of Rebels.
Yeah.
Is what it was. So 17 10 years.
27.
So late 20s.
Yeah. So
to say a 27-year-old has been doing it longer than you've been alive for someone as old as Hu Yang is that's kind of ridiculous.
Understatement.
Yeah,
Yep.
very big understatement
Yep.
there. Also, I love how he is indignant at Ezra's passe attitude of the whole thing. He's just being very unorganized, very like just whatever, and he's just it's rubbing him the wrong way. He's like,
Yeah.
come on, I know what I'm doing. Listen to me.
Yes.
Then he's getting mad about the him messing up his organization. Then Sabine drops the bomb, tells Hu Yang that Ezra was taught by Kanan Jarrus. And, of course, Ezra never considered that Hu Yang also taught Kanan.
Yeah.
So I think they're both surprised about the fact that he calls it out. Also, Hu Yang dropping Kanan's real name as Caleb. I love that. That was one of my favorite aspects of this scene. I appreciate it because that's all he would have known him as. I mean, of course, he learned later on that he went by the name Kanan Jarrus. But even when he told Carson Teva, like, oh, his father was a Jedi, his father, Kanan Jarrus, that made me like wince a tiny bit because I'm
Should
like,
have been Caleb,
it
but
should have been
everyone knows Kanan.
yeah, it should have been Caleb Doom because that's what he would have known as. But I'm not going to say that he couldn't have been made aware of the name change.
Well, probably.
But I love that
absolutely. Ahsoka probably talked to him about it.
certainly, yeah. But I do love here that he does. Oh, Caleb! I trained Caleb. He was always kind of like, and it was just a small moment that like it worked for me quite a bit. So, what do you got?
I totally guessed the wrong color. I thought Ezra would have another green lightsaber. Me and my wife were both when we were watching it. I'm like, "What color do you think it's going to be?" And she's like, "Oh, it's going to be blue." And I'm like, "No, he had a blue in Rebels. Then he had a green one after that one got destroyed." I'm like, then he went to green. Why wouldn't he go
He's
back with
alternating
green?
back and
I guess
forth.
he's just going to bounce back and forth between green and blue. So,
Oh, I love it. Also, I love Sabine getting a secondhand lesson from Hu Yang here, talking about master and apprentice relationships. Also, Hu Yang having the same emitter that Kanan had.
the exact one. He had
Yeah.
two of them, and one of them was used by Kanan. The other one is now an Ezra's lightsaber.
That was
Dude.
great. I am falling behind on the pictures. I do have a picture of that last assembling happening there. So that's pretty cool, man. That was a cool.
That's
moment for
exactly
sure.
what Kanan's lightsaber. Well, not exactly, but that
The-
top,
the
left side of this picture.
Yeah, the emitter portion of it is the same as I almost called him Caleb.
Kanan's.
Now mixing the words. Kanan, yes. I almost said Karen.
Yep.
Just mixing up the names. Yeah, so then let's see. What do you got next? I'm losing where I'm at here.
So next is where Ezra turns to talk to Sabine, and she's gone. And so my notes are
Yeah,
Sabine
yeah.
and Ahsoka.
Oh, okay. Because I still have some notes on Hu Yang and Ezra. 'Cause
Yeah.
he fills Ezra in as well as kind of us. I mean, I think we've picked up a lot of it, but this spells out exactly what's going on between Ahsoka and Sabine. Because he basically says that Ahsoka was afraid of Sabine after training for the wrong reason because of the Purge of Mandalore, which killed all of Sabine's family. She was afraid Sabine was with her full potential would be dangerous. This fits what we saw with Episode 5. Ahsoka is still carrying around the baggage of Anakin and what she may have picked up from him and what she may pass on from him to Sabine, and then Sabine losing her homeworld and her family. All of that basically made Ahsoka be like, no, this is too dangerous.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Got Dr. Mad Studio in the chat saying, hi, folks. Greetings from Britain. Hope you're all well. Absolutely loved Ahsoka from start to finish. Aside from seeing Thrawn in live action, it was fantastic. It was also great to see Night Sisters in the flesh as well.
Yeah.
Hard to believe they made their first appearance in the Courtship of Princess Leia by Dave Wolverton, the novel that is now part of Legends timeline. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that Filoni, and he did it back in Clone Wars too. He's pulling a lot of stuff from Legends into canon for sure. But then Sabine, and then now we're to the Sabine Ahsoka portion.
Yep.
So those two, she goes out to get some air, and I do love Ahsoka sitting up on the top of the ship.
Yeah, just kind of like meditating, you know.
I like that, and then sliding down. 'Cause wasn't that the first thing I thought when I saw her sitting there? I was like,
Slide?
I'd love to slide down that.
Slide it.
Because
Do it.
I'm an adult, but I'm still a child.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
What do you got for this section here?
My only note really here is like this is such a great exchange between Sabine and Ahsoka. So much character growth here from both of them from the start of the series. Season 1 or 2 when they first really sit down and talk about what happened, the tension and everything like that. I feel like it's gone. I feel like we have a master and apprentice here now.
Yeah.
At the end of this conversation, and I think it's largely due to Ahsoka not getting down on Sabine.
Yeah, this is the bearing of the hatchet. This is the new Ahsoka post episode 5.
The Ahsoka the White,
Yeah,
like the kind of
exactly.
thing. And the fact that she's not down on Sabine for the choice that she made and getting back to Ezra and everything like
And
that.
Sabine's bracing for
and
it.
everything. And she's ready.
She's
so ready for the comeuppings. And I feel like I don't remember Clone Wars as well, but I feel like something like this happened with Ahsoka and Anakin. And there's a parallel here that I'm missing. I just have this nagging feeling that there's something there. And like I said, I need to go back and rewatch Clone Wars because I bet you as soon as I see it, I'm going to have that DiCaprio moment where I'm going to snap and I'm going to point. I'm going to be like, I'm going to text you and I'm going to be like, this episode, that's where it is.
Yeah.
That's where it is because Ahsoka being the bigger person here and not just instantly trashing her. Also with what we just heard from Hugh Yang, I think we're fully back to apprentice and master.
Yeah, and I also the fact that I think that the big part of the bearing of the hatchet is Sabine understanding that Ahsoka was able to sense what happened because there's still that element of truth that wasn't made. She didn't know that Ahsoka knew. So the fact that she knew that they both knew each other, knew it type thing, allowed them to kind of bury the hatchet because I think that always would have been a snagging. It's kind of like it always reminds me of like Breaking Bad, in that like there's the tail end when Walt drops a huge bomb on Jesse, tells him something from earlier. I don't want to be too spoilery, but it's like that had to happen, and they've talked about that from the writing perspective because at the very end when the two have their showdown, that truth needed to be out. Otherwise, it negates everything that happens. And I think that's the same thing here. This reconciliation doesn't mean anything if you don't put out on the table
Everything.
that Sabine went willingly.
Even if Ahsoka never talked to her about that and everything, that's still on the table now. Sabine knows. So
yeah. And then Ahsoka's not mad and relates to a difficult choice, then commits to standing by Sabine, but asks if she kept up with her training, and she says she tried, and then laughs and says she does. I love seeing the Yoda lesson from Luke there. Do not, or try not, do or do not. Because honestly, and it also made me kind of laugh because I'm like, is that just kind of one of those things where like that teacher has that one saying and every student that ever has them heard it because he just has it on repeat. It's like the English teacher. Can I go to the bathroom? Well, may you go to the bathroom? Like it's like
I don't know. Can you?
I just wonder if Yoda's that way with that. Where like anytime a youngling, because Ahsoka or Sabine caught herself too. She caught herself, laughed, and then said, I do.
I do.
It's definitely one that she's heard a number of times. So I love that. So then going to the attack.
Oh, one line.
yeah.
One more line from Ahsoka. I forgot to mention during my little spiel there. A Jedi is not made by their lightsaber, or however she words it.
Yeah, she basically says there's more to being a Jedi than having a lightsaber.
Yeah, being a Jedi isn't about wielding a lightsaber. That's what it was. That line is phenomenal. Also, kind of like slaps me in the face after being mad Ezra didn't take the lightsaber in the last episode. I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah. And in the chat, Dr. Matt Studio is asking what the next series is going to be. I don't know because everything basically got wiped off the map release date wise. I know we've got Andor season 2. I know we've got Skeleton Crew, and I know we've got the Acolyte, and they've confirmed Tales of the Jedi season 2. I just don't know what order they're all coming in. I do believe Andor, Skeleton Crew, and Acolyte, those three are the furthest along, so it's going to be one of those. I just don't know. The strikes pushed everything back, so I don't know what's actually next. I don't even know if it's confirmed at this point. Now the strikes is resolved. Hopefully they'll actually start releasing some release dates again, but right now I don't think we really know what's coming next.
Yeah.
All right, so then we got the TIE fighters coming in. TIE fighter pilot armor has also been adapted. I love that. I've always loved TIE fighter pilot armor. It's one of my favorite figures as a kid.
Yeah.
So to see a version of that, it was pretty cool. Also, the fact that Thrawn only sent 2 out against them shows that he is still being careful with his resources. The true danger.
Well, he even said, like, in his little briefing when he ordered the strike, is like, if they have a shot, take it. Otherwise, don't.
Yeah. And I love, because ultimately the true danger of TIE fighters has always been them in bulk. Like, you want TIE fighters, you want to send 8 of them at one ship. That's what makes them so dangerous, because they're so fast. They don't have a lot of armor, but it's like...
shields.
They've got fast blasting. Yeah, shields. But if you throw 8 of them at, like, a small freighter, you could overwhelm it.
Swarm them.
You
swarm them and everything. But if you're going to take on a T6 Jedi Starfighter, you're going to need more than 2.
Yeah, so it's kind of more of just like, well... We gotta send something.
But this here is perfect because this is what Thrawn. What Thrawn did here is that he saw an opportunity. This is one of those things that happens in like a board game, like Risk kind of thing. It's like the next turn, Tad has the maximum number of cards. He's going to turn in. He's going to get bonus armies. He's going to be able to rebuffer that way into his stronghold. But he's only got 2 armies there right now. So if I take the shot and I get in and I get far enough, maybe I can stop him from conquering Europe or whatever. I think that's what Thrawn here was doing. Is he was rolling the dice that if they get a shot, exactly what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Is they take that shot and they down the shuttle. If they
Yeah.
down the shuttle,
It changes the equation.
it's game over, right? Isn't
Yeah.
that what Thrawn says? Like it's over. Like
yeah.
So
He basically says their chance of stopping us is now virtually impossible, if not entirely.
if not entirely, exactly.
So, yeah. And then my next note here, almost had some squish hermit crabs. I mean, naughty. I will say I've been really annoyed how many people online keep calling them turtles. I'm like, they're hermit crabs. Come on.
Yeah, like it's right there.
That's not a turtle.
Like it's right there. They have the shells and everything. It's right there. Also, the feat here by Ahsoka and Ezra to hold up the shuttle.
Yeah, I got
with
the
the
I
Force.
just threw that up on the screen too. Yeah,
That is an impressive feat
yeah.
for 2 Jedi to do.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, 1 Jedi and 1
a Force user.
Force user.
I think she's coming around.
Is she coming around?
I do. I think. I think so. Also, I would say it's not a big deal because size matters not. Judge him by your size, by his size, do you? Also, then after that, they basically get the engines up for one thing, and Sabine blasts the engines and ends up hitting both TIE fighters.
Bam!
This feels very Mandalorian to me. This
Oh,
feels
yeah.
very reckless and just like,
You messed with my ship. I'm gonna at least kill you.
yeah, caution to the wind,
Yep.
just fucking go. And that just felt very Mandalorian, so
Mm-hmm.
I really love that. And then my next note, Thrawn here is really great. They got a report of a hit before losing contact. He coolly says acceptable losses. Mark their captains for commendations. Or mark their captain for commendations. Like, that's just fucking brutal. It's like, hey, captain, your guys just died, so you get a commendation. Like, it just...
Yep.
And it just felt so matter of fact and just whatever. I love that despite being decades removed from knowing the known galaxy, he is still maintaining imperial decorum and giving commendations and probably promotions. Honestly, I've been wondering, was Enoch probably just a normal stormtrooper when they got sent, and
Maybe.
he's worked his way up? Because there certainly wasn't like a hardcore stormtrooper on the bridge with him as like his right hand man when we saw that last.
He
scene
had
of Rebels.
he had the bodyguard kind of dude, the assassin. That was his kind of like number one guy, and he gets taken out in the last couple episodes of Rebels. So
Yeah, well, he had him, but they never used him.
never
like they did.
never had like a stormtrooper. No.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like he probably proved himself capable, very adaptable, and worked his way up to being like the stormtrooper for Thrawn. So
Yeah.
I kind of love that. Next up, Thrawn is looking at the location and assumes that the shuttle was damaged and or destroyed, and figures that they will assault by ground.
Yep.
You got
He's so menacing.
You got anything else for this section?
That's my last note. Is that Thrawn is just so menacing. He's done nothing but talk.
yeah.
This entire time, he's done nothing but talk for this entire series, and I get such bad juju vibes from him. You know?
Yeah, he just feels very sinister, indeed. So, moving to the next section here, Jedi riders. Elsbeth talks to the troopers, trying the front door. So,
Yeah.
let me. What do you got first?
I only
here?
got one real note in this one. I just love the mounted Jedi.
on the
Like
Howlers?
that's on the Howlers. Like that's so cool. And then we know the Naughty are helping Hugh Yang with the shuttle. His little parting line is cool, but really just like the mounted Jedi. It's like, yeah, let's get him. Let's go.
All right, I am getting the slides ready. It's one of those stupid things. I can only put so many pictures per thing, and it's at the end, so I got to scroll through. So the riding the Howlers proves Thrawn correct. Naughty helping Hugh Yang made me laugh. We're
Yeah.
going to see a little bit more of it in a bit, but it just, they don't seem very capable of a lot. So I don't know. It's
Yep.
Oh, let's see. What
It's a long shot to get that ship running again. It looks like.
Yeah, indeed. Sorry, that now got them arriving at the Star Destroyer. Off in the distance with the Eye of Sion going there. Elsbeth is then giving an ominous speech about the Great Mothers will protect the troops against the Jedi. Thrawn calls them volunteers and asks if they were made aware, making it very more ominous. She says that they are all willing to make the sacrifice for Thrawn, and then he corrects her and says it's for the Empire and the security of their galaxy. So I like that about Thrawn too.
Yep.
He's not taking it upon himself. Earlier, they're all chanting his name in the early a few
When he
episodes
marches
back,
out.
and it just felt very Cult of Thrawn. But I don't think he's buying into that. I don't think I think he's allowing them to chant, but like I don't think he's allowing it to like get.
I think it's a big thing for him to let his troops chant like that because they need something to rally around.
Yeah.
Like he's understanding that if he doesn't do that for them, that it could all fall apart and you could just have them all desert him.
Yeah.
And then he's left alone on this strange galaxy with no support. But if he becomes their linchpin, but now that he's getting ready to go back, no, let's dial it back. It is for the Empire, not for me.
Yeah, exactly. And then my next note, Hugh Yang says that he's doing his best, and then Ahsoka says he's kept the ship in the sky longer than she's been alive. Then a naughty electrocutes himself, and Hugh Yang says, "Don't wait for me." That had me laughing my ass off. That was really funny. Also, it kind of gave me slight vibes of the Porg on the Millennium Falcon, and when Chewie's working on shit, and there's Porg everywhere. It kind of reminded me of that a little bit because again, it's just mostly useless creatures. They're not going to really be able to help you much. It kind of also gave me vibes of Baby Yoda too. When Mando stuck him in those areas, like don't put the two together or whatever. And he just, like it kind of reminded me of that. He's like it's useful because he's small and get in there, but he has no idea what he's doing.
No.
So
the Groot push the button, pushing the buttons.
yeah. Ezra says Thrawn found this place, woke up the witches, rebuilt the starship, his starship, and was not and it was not safe to come here alone. Holy hell, what a packed line.
Yeah.
So also there's a bunch of people that have been trying to say that Ezra's chainmail has made a stormtrooper dog tags. I pushed against that because one, we've never seen a stormtrooper dog tag in the history of Star Wars.
No.
And two, it didn't feel right. I don't think he'd be doing that. Collecting helmets is one thing, but like, like that's, I don't know. That felt a little bit too far for me. So this kind of proves that that's not the case. He just cobbled that chainmail together. But also found this place, woke up the
sisters.
So that's interesting. So they weren't
active and out and about.
An active thing on this planet until Thrawn woke them up. That is
Okay.
very intriguing because I
Okay.
guess I kind of assumed the mothers would have just been
chilling.
It's like most of the other ones have gone to the other galaxy, gone to Dathomir and shit. These three were the great ones or whatever that just stayed to like hold up whatever temp. Like that's what I always had in my head. So, but waking them up, that's crazy because now Thrawn has opened up a can of worms.
Could it be that there's more inside the coffins? Is that what we're going to be?
Oh, that's my thought.
Yeah.
I was telling someone I think that Filoni is essentially going to adapt the Thrawn trilogy, but in the Marvel kind of way, to where like there's elements that are the same, but there's gonna be a lot of elements that are different, which is fine because you can't do the original Thrawn trilogy the way that it was written.
No.
But if you get major elements of it, and honestly, I think what's happening now, I mean, we're getting into prediction territory a bit. I think this is the replacement for Mount Tantus's cloning vats.
Yep.
Rather than cloning vats to clone himself an army,
We get whatever's inside those coffins.
Yeah, or the ability to raise any dead storm. I mean, what like amass the Imperial remnant together. That entire army can now be like perpetually. I mean, we're skipping way ahead. But
it's this next section.
It is the next section. But I'm just saying like I think that's the stuff that's coming though. And I've been saying for a couple episodes, I do think that whatever the witches have is probably going to be the replacement for Mount Tantus. And the clones in the original Thrawn trilogy. So, which also makes me wonder how is Filoni going to do this with one movie?
I don't think he will.
Even if we get another season of Ahsoka, I kind of feel there has to be a trilogy of movies here, man.
Hopefully.
I hope so too. And then Dr. Matt Studio says in the chat, one thing I loved about Thrawn, he commands his forces with respect and commandership rather than through or camaraderie rather than through fear and power like Palpatine, and that's definitely true.
Yeah.
And it says, still blows my mind that Ezra and Thrawn were sent to another galaxy, something I thought would never see in any Star Wars media form, and it's true. I think Lucas even said it at a certain point. Everything takes place in this one galaxy, so another one of those things that Dave is tweaking just a tiny bit in his own storytelling now, which is great.
Yeah.
And then he also says in the chat, I'm not gonna lie, but my favorite moment from the final episode was the dead night troopers, which we're about to get to. Reminded me of the Legends novel Death Troopers. Yeah, and I wanted to point that out. I'm glad you called that out because I couldn't remember what it was, but I remember there was a book cover of one with zombie troopers. So that's been around for a long time in Legends. So then Ahsoka also, right before we get to the next section, Ahsoka saying let's try the front door is very Anakin of her. That felt very Anakin.
Did you try the front door?
Yeah, and then the raining hellfire. Thrawn tells him rain down hellfire because there's no negotiating with the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker. I, again, love the respect he's putting on Anakin. And the fear, I guess, almost of Anakin. Then Thrawn's anger as they get through the bombing is palpable. It's so well acted because it's subtle, as Thrawn should be, but you could see he's seething. He did not want them to get through. So.
Yeah, the bombardment was actually pretty scary. We haven't seen anything like that with a capital ship bombing a planet.
Yeah. Not on screen.
Not on screen. Not as a heavy concentration like this. You can kind of get the idea now what would happen if a Star Destroyer showed up over Tatooine and decided to bomb Mos Eisley.
Yeah. Or what I still want to know, imagine what it looks like if like 12 Star Destroyers show up over a planet and just unload. Like that would be...
Han says it in Episode 4 that no, they couldn't destroy a planet even if the
whole fleet.
It would take the power of the entire fleet.
But
when you think about how big the fleet is, yeah, that would take a lot of Star Destroyers to destroy it. But what could 12 do to a planet?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They wouldn't like blow it up like the Death Star by any means, but
Mandalore.
The surface would be completely gone. Yeah, it would exactly. Mandalore is probably the
closest we have to an example of what you're talking about.
Indeed. So you got anything else here before we jump down to the...
I really thought we were going to lose one Howler, but I do want to say, proud that no Howlers were harmed in the making of the show.
No Howlers, no Naughty, and no whales.
And no whales. None of them were harmed in the making of the show.
Let's be honest. All of us have that one dead Ewok in our minds as we're watching this stuff, where it's like, even cute shit, like...
stuff like that dies in Star Wars. It happens.
They could be killed.
Yeah.
Or Chewie could get shot in the arm. All right. So moving to this next section, fight round 1, Night Mother's Ritual round 2, docking. Thrawn needs more time. Kind of covering this whole section. So what do you got here?
Man,
I wonder. Let me see if I can get our cameras off real quick because I wanted to. This image is. Oh dang it! It's. Go ahead with your. I'm gonna try to. adjust something.
The very first shot here, where it's a tight shot of Ahsoka, and the troopers are firing, and it's one with her.
I got the image
and
of
everything
without us because like that's...
no, even before this is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
It's just Ahsoka, and she's just going ham with the deflections and everything like that. And there's the troopers, and then it pulls back into this shot. That reveal and the music here is so good.
And this is one of my favorite shots for sure. So that's why I wanted to pull it and show it without us on screen because we were covering Ezra and Sabine with our little bubbles there.
Fitting that I was over Sabine.
Yeah, that's you do like her.
I do. Sabine's my favorite.
So Ahsoka flanked by Sabine and Ezra with lightsabers drawn is such a badass shot. And then of course they kick some true ass here.
Yes. And then my note here, these are the lightsabers I came to see complaining earlier about Ezra not using a lightsaber. It's like, there we go.
Yeah.
And then the last two troopers, the way that they dispatch them. Do you remember that?
No.
Ezra grabs the two of them and pulls them, and Ahsoka.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That was so cool.
Yeah. And then I also do have an image of them with all the dead stormtroopers all over the place.
For now.
Then the Great Mothers are in one of their witch circles once again.
Triangle?
Or whatever. They're
in a witch shape.
Yeah, they're witches doing witchy shit. The Great Mothers
again, Thrawn watching, just like you notated earlier. I noticed it now.
Yep, chanting with Thrawn in the background. Then some evil music happens. We get a musical cue that comes in that's very sinister, and then we see a bluish green smoke around the troopers. And they start to move again. You get some minor movements of the hands and stuff,
cracking bones,
and then then we get a good shot here that I have coming up on screen. As green eyes in the stormtrooper. This is some intense shit.
Straight from Clone Wars too.
And it is for sure. But it's some intense shit, man. This is some spooky stuff. I can only imagine some 5 or 6 year olds watching this must have maybe had some nightmares after.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So zombies in Star Wars, and when Ezra says this is new, they're not our zombies, though, of course, because they're still firing their weapons. I wanted to point out Ezra saying that this is new because, again, I think this is the first time this has happened. I think Thrawn's had this card in his pocket, but this is the first time that he's playing it to basically say, like, all right, let's do this.
We've had stuff like this happen in the Clone Wars, though, didn't we? On Dathomir.
Here because I'm talking about in terms of the people that were saying that like earlier the first time Thrawn shows up, all these troopers are dead and they've been raised and no in this show this is the first time the troopers have been raised up. So,
Well, so yeah, even Ezra's pointing out that this has never happened to him, where he's killed a trooper and it rises up.
I just had this thought. This is what was happening with Merrick earlier on. How is this happening? Elsbeth doesn't seem like she's capable of doing this. Where the mother's doing this from the other galaxy to have Merrick, because he was.
Or is he an existent of the ones that were on Dathomir before Palpatine purged it?
Could be, yeah.
He could be a sole survivor, right?
Could be, yeah. Then we got the Chimera finally docking with the Eye of Sion. And then I do have another image of a bunch of stormtroopers, spooky stormtroopers there.
Yeah.
Also, the cosplayers are gonna love this.
Oh yeah,
They're gonna love this.
they're gonna go ham for the zombie troopers.
Yeah. Let's see. So, and then Thrawn asking Elsbeth to delay them, and I think both knowing fully that this is going to mean her death.
Mm-hmm.
That was an interesting scene. The
Yeah.
subtext there was thick because you could just tell like they both knew it and stuff. And in my mind, I was like wondering about the mothers. I'm like, what do they think about this? They just
Yeah.
mentioned her a sister, and now Thrawn's asking her to go sacrifice herself. Like,
Yeah. Hey, nice new toy.
yeah, then throw it out yeah, exactly. So then moving into the next section, what do you got here?
The next section is the
Troops marching.
Oh, one last note before this next section.
Oh yeah.
I love how everyone is so the loyalty that is being shown to Thrawn here. That's going to be a problem going forward.
Oh yeah.
For the good guys, because Elsbeth doesn't blink.
Yeah.
She doesn't hesitate. She is just okay. Cool. You want me to go? You want me to go die? You want me to go? Kamikaze? All right, cool. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not just her. Like, has
Yeah,
Enoch
all of
said anything? Yes, sir. Nods on,
Yeah.
and
Plus
everything.
the chanting.
The chanting.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the devotion here to Thrawn, and even the little bit we got in Mandalorian Season 3 from the ones who are on his side,
Yeah.
Palaeon and everyone, this is going to be a problem.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
This is what Hera's been beating her drum about. This is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
This scene right here shows it. If we get into Season 2 and everyone's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how many people are devoted to Thrawn, I'm going to point back to this scene and be like, we already knew it was going to happen.
Yeah. And then Dr. Matsuyo says, even though Death Troopers is now Legends, the Black Wing virus is actually canon, thanks in large part to the mobile game Star Wars Commander. So that's interesting. I didn't know that. I haven't played that yet. So then Elsbeth of the Blade, we're finally seeing going to get her and Ahsoka rematch.
Yep.
It seems. So I love this.
Because she just had Beskar Spear, right?
Yeah, she had the best
in Mandalorian Season 2.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is still a wonderful fight. I was also jazzed about this because Diana Lee Ian Santo, which is the one that plays Elsbeth, is one person that does not need a stunt person. I don't know if you know this or not, but she is a fucking badass.
Nice.
Her dad was the apprentice of Bruce Lee,
Oh, yeah, you told me about that.
and Bruce Lee was her godfather. So
Yeah.
she knows her shit. And I was just like,
I kind of look now when I try to see, like, okay, is this someone stunt double?
stunt
Like,
double. Yeah.
usually you don't see it, especially in high production like Star Wars or Marvel, but every now and then you'll catch it. I couldn't see anything in this, and there's a
because
reason why.
Yeah, it's because it's her.
That's the reason why.
It's because it's her. Yep. And honestly, she did a great job in Mando as well. But
Yeah.
so yeah, and then Sabine also saying to try to stay together after Ahsoka tries to send her away.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. But ultimately, it's kind of one of those leave this to me type things.
Yep.
It's classic Star Wars for sure to send them away. And then we get a pretty badass fight with Ahsoka and Elsbeth.
Amazing.
This was
That's all I put down is just amazing.
yeah, I will also say, during this duel, I actually was genuinely afraid for Ahsoka. I think that we're in an area now where Ahsoka's survival is not guaranteed.
Yeah.
And the fact that there is no Ahsoka Season 2 announced, we could get a follow-up series to this that has a different title even,
Yeah.
potentially. So I was actually pretty scared. There was some, just the way this was choreographed, there was some stuff I'm like, Ahsoka's gonna fucking die here, dude. Like, I was very, very, very scared that this was going to be, and then it would be Ezra and Sabine that have to then, kind of move forward without their master, kind of the Luke moving forward without Obi-Wan type thing. So,
Yeah.
I was very, very scared about this. Then we see Sabine and Ezra running up to some Death Troopers, which you mentioned earlier. Obviously,
Are they Dark Troopers or Death Troopers?
or Dark Troopers? Yeah, I'm sorry.
These are robots then, right? Like droids? Or
I
these
don't know
men.
if that's ever been made clear. They have that weird talking in Rogue One, so I don't know if it's
Well, there's the ones in Rogue One, and wearing the black armor.
yeah.
I think these are different. I think these are the ones that Gideon had that were robots that were chopped down by Luke.
Oh no, no,
They're not the
No,
same?
this is the ones from Rogue One.
I have questions then
These-
because the one that gets so I don't want to jump too far ahead, but the one that gets beheaded, it does not look like a human head inside that
But
helmet.
the ones from Rogue One, we've never been made clear whether those were actually human or not. Like they have that weird like
Oh, I forgot. These are not robots. I forgot the one that picks up Sabine. I could just remember.
Oh yeah, you see.
See like the jaw and everything like that. So these are absolutely. But I had a note here calling this out because I was second guessing myself. These Dark Troopers are already dead. These are not living beings inside that armor. They were dead before and already raised by the sister. So, that being said, I know what you're saying with Ezra and everything like that. But it looks like we have some that have already been raised. We don't know.
We also don't know when these ones got raised.
No, we don't.
Thrawn could have kept these
But
bodies decomposed.
that is decomposed a bit.
But he may have kept them because of how legit they are as troops.
Yes.
So that when this happened and the Night Sisters actually raised everyone, these guys would get raised and then you send them down. It could.
And they got raised. Well, but they were raised before the sisters started chanting, right? Because they stepped out with Elsbeth. Or was that after? I think I might be mixing up.
Yeah, that's after. Yeah,
Okay.
because these guys are up top on the roof.
Right.
And Elsbeth is down in the lower section. She'll get up there later. But yeah, I had to grab this screen grab because the zombie face underneath there.
Yes,
That was actually
yes.
way further than I thought Star Wars would take it, to be honest with you.
And so that's I knew instantly that they were not alive and then coming back. But yeah, Ezra stabs one right in the chest with his lightsaber, and it doesn't fall down and get back up or anything like that. It just punches him in the face.
Yeah.
So
So then we jumping. Then the last thing in this section, Sabine getting her Luke cave moment.
yes, classic first time using the Force Fisted Beam. It's what you do. You're in danger, reach out and have to get the lightsaber.
Yeah.
And also, I have one last note
And
here.
this shot is pretty great, don't you think?
Oh yeah, destroy the brain, destroy the ghoul. That's the line, right?
What do you got though?
The one last thing here I have is that, God damn it, Sabine loses her helmet more than fucking Indiana Jones loses his hat.
That's true.
I swear to God, that lady can't keep her helmet on to save her life.
Yeah. And then moving to the next section here, the Chimera is taken off. We do have this height disparity here. And then Sabine's talking about like kind of a daisy chain jump of force pushing and pulling and stuff. Did you have any fear for Ezra here? Because with this whole, because I guess we skipped over his line at the end of last episode. I can't wait to go home. Just felt like that one day till retirement line. So I already worried about him, and I'm like, can you imagine if she failed here?
No, we just had the Luke moment of the first force use. No, she's good now.
Oh man,
I think she's good now. So that's where I had no doubt in this one.
Yeah. Okay, so Dr. Matt Studio says in Rogue One's Ultimate Visual Guide, it's hinted that the Death Troopers were created using something similar to the Blackwing virus from Legends. So, I mean, if that's hinted at, maybe they're even undead in Rogue One. They could even be. I don't know. It's an interesting. They're interesting because they are probably the most formidable Imperial troops we've ever seen. Right.
Yeah.
Like the way they were in Rogue One and stuff too. So then they do end up getting the jump. Ezra makes it.
Yep.
I do actually have
Fantastic cinematography and special effects here. Amazing shot.
I've got a shot of Ezra with the
Ah!
and then of course we see Ahsoka kill Elsbeth finally as the duel wears on. It is made harder because troops are there. They've made it up to the top. But Ahsoka does, of course, win. Or I shouldn't say, of course, because I was actually kind of fearing for her a bit.
Real fast, we jumped forward a little bit there. I want to call out that while Sabine's doing the push and everything like that, we get a Force theme.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did have a note on that too. The
Force theme.
I missed it. The great use of the Force theme.
Yeah.
Second time in this show, they've pulled at our heartstrings by using one of the most powerful Star Wars pieces of music ever. So. Then moving on here, so Ezra's up on the ship looking down. This is the point when I realized that there's no getting anyone else. Like he's going to be alone. When he looked down, it was just the way it was shot. I'm like, yep, it's just him. And then also answering the radio.
Yes, classic Rebels.
Just classic Ezra. Like that was just.
Yep.
I bet there's stormtroopers that haven't used radios as much as Imperial radios as much as Ezra has in the course of Rebels. And then he thanks them for giving him a heads up that the troops are coming, and he grabs the body to pull it away. That's pretty awesome. Sabine, thank God, got her helmet before leaving. Because I was worried a few times in this show, I was worried the helmet was gone.
Just keep
for good.
it on her. Like, I understand we got an actress and everything like that, but at these points, just keep the helmet on her.
Yeah,
like, come on.
Yeah, I thought we lost it before when she left with them. I was like, if Ahsoka doesn't take it, that's gone. I know Hugh Yang had it, but it's like, I mean, come on. And then here, I was really worried that she was going to leave without it. So I'm glad she did not, though. And then, of course, we have the. Them jumping over the edge, and then the Hugh Yang ship catches them there.
I don't know if you noticed in the wide shot there when they're jumping on, there are some troopers that are down and stay down.
Yeah.
But not many.
Yeah, not a whole lot.
Even after Sabine goes through them again, not many of them are still down.
Yeah.
So it's they're pretty hard to kill.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They are the opposite of normal stormtroopers when it comes to that.
Yep.
And then moving on, Thrawn is there now trying to make a chase because the Chimera and the Eye of Sion is leaving. They're all powers to the engines, but honestly, I had no hope. They're not catching up.
No.
Like, I just from a storytelling perspective, like, there's no way they're going to catch them. Then Thrawn calls them up and says he calls him up, which I did not expect him to do. He calls out Anakin Skywalker, which is big because obviously Ahsoka has been struggling with that all season. She's come to at peace with it. But then Thrawn throws the similarities out there in kind of a great villain way where it's like, I wonder what else how much your similarities are. And then I love the line too. Maybe this is the place for a Ronin like you.
Yeah.
Kind of the
so good.
Yeah, that was a great line. I love that.
Yeah.
So, and then, of course, the Eye of Sion makes the jump with the Chimera, and the Jedi shuttle is thrown in disarray.
Yep.
That's kind of a new thing. But then again, this is not normal hyperspace. This is like multiple massive engines. So
and jumping between galaxies. So,
yeah,
we already saw it. We actually did see it once before earlier in the series where when they jumped, the wake of it passing the X-Wings caused the X-Wings. We lost X-Wing pilots there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Indeed, lost a couple of them. And then in the my next note, the Naughty see the Jedi returning with their starship. So it seems like that's where we're going to be leaving these two for a while. And then I wanted to note, I also have a picture of it. We have the Morai showing up. Haven't seen that since Rebels, I don't think. Have we?
No. I don't think so.
That's an interesting thing because, of course, the Morai has been with Ahsoka since the Mortis daughter saved her in the Clone Wars in the Mortis trilogy. So it's very, very interesting to see the Morai showing up here for the first time in live action. Also, that is leaving kind of. We're going to jump back to Ahsoka at the very end of the episode, but we are going to get our one check-in with Shin.
Yep.
She rides back to the Raiders, raises her lightsaber, lights it. I mean, she kind
Who knows?
She kind of got fucked. Like she didn't go with Balin. He says go with the Empire. The Empire's now gone without her. Like she's a person with no nation now.
Yeah.
She's kind of, which that's sad because like what she wanted was power, and I guess she might have power over the Raiders, but I don't.
Is that how much power she really wanted?
Yeah, I think she desired a lot more than a band of Raiders that aren't all that impressive.
Yeah,
overall.
They've got their ass kicked a lot.
Multiple times, exactly.
Thanks for coming in, Dr. Mad Studio.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, cheerio. I love that. I love British like stuff.
Slang.
I love it. Yeah, I love it all.
Yeah.
It's great. I love
you
the spirit.
especially love their curse words.
Oh, indeed. Australians too.
Yes.
And then of course we got Balin. I know we're getting close to time, but we're almost done here. Balin. Basically, some people pointed this out hilariously. Literally a cliffhanger because he's literally on the edge of a cliff. I actually did forget to throw the image in, but what I was saving is one thing I saw that everyone's been really latching onto online is Liev Schreiber for Balin. Have you seen that? The picture of him, he's got the beard. He's a bigger dude. They're both like over 6 feet tall. They're both about the same age. Liev Schreiber generally I don't think looks as gray as this guy, but you could easily do that with Ray Stevenson because you have to recast Ray. This, I mean, we're going to talk a little bit about.
We got nothing.
Yeah, he's now. What we do have though is he's on this cliff edge, and I have another picture here because this one's a lot more important. So he is on the hand of the father,
Yeah.
the Mortis father. The son is to the right. The daughter
Is headless.
is gone, does not exist. So with his daughter representing the light side, the son representing the dark side, the father representing balance, and the sister
He was talking about balance
or
earlier.
the daughter is destroyed, kind of makes me wonder, is that foretelling that this planet, there is no room for the light side and there's nothing but darkness here?
Or is it showing the actual state of the universe right now with the lack of Jedi?
Yeah, I mean, it could be.
I mean, Luke's busy trying to get. I mean, literally, when you think of the Jedi that we have Ezra Bridger, Ahsoka Tano,
Luke
Skywalker, and then we have apprentice Grogu, who is now
which has already
turned
forsaken the Jedi.
and become a Mandalorian, and
I mean,
and Sabine Wren.
Games are canon too. So Cal Kestis from the Fallen Order, I believe. I don't know. I haven't played the second game, so
We don't know where that takes place, do we? That the first
That's-
game. The first game takes place where Vader's still in power.
Yeah.
So-
I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm assuming he hasn't died. I haven't played the second game, so he could have died. But that's potential out there as well. But
Okay.
who knows? But yeah, there isn't a lot. But I did find it ominous. And then of course, the father is not like holding his hand out like Lord of the Rings with like a hand or whatever. He's pointing. He's got a finger pointed, and
Then we get a shot of a valley.
Balin looks out to the valley where the father is pointing. There is a lot with this. I have no idea what the fuck this means. I think it's going to unfold. But honestly, it kind of a question that
Did you not see it?
well, I mean, I'm just talking about like what is he ultimately seeking, and kind of what I'm kind of wondering is the Force like come from this place originally? I wonder if down when we get to the guy that did Logan, I'm always blanking on his fucking name. That's directing the one that the Birth of the Jedi. I wonder if like when the witches come over, if there's going to be some element of like the ability and knowledge to tap into the Force comes from this, and this is like the origins of the Force. Like not that like the
Okay.
Force doesn't exist everywhere, but the understanding of like how to like tap into it
Yeah.
comes from this planet. Maybe I don't know. I'm intrigued. I didn't want to hope for Mortis stuff. There have been some illusions earlier that we kind of wondered about, but now we've seen the statues. Like we're talking full
Yeah.
on Mortis here. So
No. Like what I'm talking about is in the valley shot. You didn't see it?
what?
There's something on the peak.
Yeah, there's people saying they see things in the valley. There's people saying they see things on the peak. I don't know.
There's a light on that peak.
Yeah, there's
back
people
there.
that say they think they saw light in the valley too. I don't know. We'll see. It's definitely open ended though. I'm kind of glad because I love Balin. I didn't want to see him die. When Ray Stevenson passed away, there was part of me that was like, you avoid recasting if he dies and Shin picks up his banner or whatever. But with him passing away, they got to recast
No,
this.
dude,
Man.
there's a full on beacon, strobing light on one of those peaks. Like I'm watching the scene right now. Like if you watch it as it pans, the light goes on and off, on, off, on. Like it's there.
Yeah.
Like there is a beacon there. That's what he's looking at. There's something over there.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't know. There's that, but there also somebody was saying they saw like light down in the valley too. So I don't know. There's definitely. I mean, ultimately there's going to be something, and it's what he's seeking. But now that it's showing that it's Mortis, it makes me wonder, like, because he's talking about he wants to break the cycle and break the chain type stuff. Because it kind of makes me wonder, like, is he going to have some ability to like tap into the Force in a larger way to maybe stop the Force usage or something? That would never happen, of course.
Yeah.
But is that his goal? Is to end like Force usage? I don't know. It's very interesting. Can't wait to see what Balin has coming down the road. And then the last bit we've got here, the last section, the Chimera arriving. I've got a picture for it at Dathomir. Of course it arrives at Dathomir, right? Like when it came through and I'm like, well, it's a red planet. I'm like, well, the planet they left from was red. It had the red trees and stuff. So I'm like, maybe it's that planet. And then Enoch's like, we've arrived at Dathomir. I'm like, God damn it.
Oh shit.
This is not good.
fucking shit.
My first thought, yeah. So that's. Do you have any other thoughts on the arrival?
No.
Okay, then I do have one last good shot of Thrawn because I love looking at Thrawn. He's amazing.
Yeah.
And then we get I'm sorry, we have one more thing I wanted to show. Our first reveal of the full breadth of the cargo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it wasn't one coffin per little indicator. It was stacks of.
Well, they were bringing them in one at a time, but when they're getting into the cargo bay, they started stacking them.
I'm talking about the hologram when we finally get
when
we finally get the reveal of why he isn't just getting the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
He had like little icons, and it was each one of these was one.
Yeah.
But it's a stack of 5 by 4, and it looks
And at
like
least 2
three.
or 3
It looks
deep.
like 3 deep
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
No, it is 3 deep. If you look at the left one under me, you can see the 3 white dots there. So 5 by 4 is 20, 20, 40, 60. There's 60 in each one of those.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a shitload.
That's a shit ton.
I guess what else would we expect if it takes 3 days to load it, right?
Yeah.
But very, very sinister thing to be seeing here at the tail end. Then we got a Imperial shuttle coming up on Home 1 back at the Rebel fleet.
Mm-hmm.
My first thought was, would it not be metal as fuck for Thrawn to send one trooper in a shuttle?
Dude, we had the same fucking thought. I'm like, he's going to send a dead trooper, one that's dead with the green eyes and everything like that.
Oh, no.
And it's going to take so much for them to kill it, and they're going to know what's coming for them. And it's going to have a message that Thrawn's back.
No, I thought it would just be a living one as like a herald, where it's just like, Thrawn is back, and that just as a messenger just to tell him, like,
you don't know what's coming for you.
Exactly.
Something like creepy and evil.
Like the old days when a king would send a herald to
An
go
emissary,
and, like,
yeah.
to like tell, like, hey, my army's coming. Like and I get like
well, we surrender. Nope, we don't accept it. I'm just here to let you know you're gonna die.
Exactly. So that was my first thought, and
then a stormtrooper walks out.
And then tactically, though, I get where that would be kind of a weakness. Like, why would you reveal that you're back? Like, let that be a surprise attack of some kind.
There's a thing in Harry Potter where the bad guy comes back. Everyone thinks that he's dead, and he comes back, and they're like, well, why hasn't he moved out into the open? It's like, why? He can operate from the shadows just as effectively. It's kind of the same thing here with Thrawn.
Yeah, indeed. So that was my first thought. Everyone's ready to shoot as this trooper comes down.
Yeah.
But Chopper
rolls forward.
Is familiar with this person, even with all the disguise. He starts chattering away, and then he goes and moves up, and
the person raises their hands.
Yeah, the trooper raises their hands. I have no doubt that Chopper recognized him from the word go.
Yep.
How? I don't know, but he did. So I got another close-up of Chopper as our final goodbye to Chopper for this season.
Bye, Chopper.
He's been awesome. No war crimes in this entire show. He tried. He wanted one, but he didn't get it. And then the stormtrooper puts its hand down on Chopper's head. Pretty great stuff. As then, of course, takes the helmet off. And what classically... Ezra, I think he's almost in stormtrooper armor more than he's in anything else throughout the course of Rebels. So it totally works.
It fits.
It fits totally. And also, honestly, I didn't expect to get this, but I'm really happy that we got Hera to have that moment.
Yes.
To have that reunion. I would have liked maybe a hug or something, but I get that that's not the way this was structured for that. But it was really, really cool to see those two get reunited. And then we're back. Do you have anything else there?
No.
Okay, then we're back in the other galaxy with Sabine and Ezra. Sabine and Ahsoka, who are now looking like they're going to set up shop with the Naughty.
Yep.
So Ahsoka is reminding Sabine because of her, Ezra got home, and Ezra says, and they're all where they need to be, basically. So Ezra and we are where we need to be. Everyone's where we need to be. Ahsoka says it is time to move on. So that's interesting to me. I kind of wonder with what Balin's got going, leaving the 2 Jedi pieces on this planet to match the apprentice, and Balin maybe doesn't know his apprentice is still there. But
Shin is there.
Shin and Balin are there, and we've got the master and apprentice. The 2 the 4 that have matched up against each other,
master and a master, an apprentice and apprentice,
are all still there. So whatever, maybe that's the balance, is whatever he's trying to do, Ahsoka and Sabine are still there to maybe try to stop whatever it is. So I do appreciate that. Do you have anything else before we get to the last little thing here. So
No,
Sabine,
it's like the big thing. Like I just want to get to it so bad.
So Sabine ultimately senses something but can't see. She just says something about like a shadow or something, shadow on the light or something. I can't remember her exact phrasing. They look out there. Now, do you believe that Ahsoka sees it?
Yes.
Okay, I do too.
Yes.
I do too. I think it's left ambiguous just enough, but the way Ahsoka smiles, I believe she sees it, but it isn't shot in a way that is clear that she sees it. Because as she walks away, it starts to pan back. I got the first one here. I know my bubble's blocking it a tiny bit. But, of course, the last shot we have is Force Ghost, no world between worlds, but Force Ghost, Anakin Skywalker, smiling over his apprentice, left in this strange galaxy. So, what do you think?
Dude. I wonder if this is going to play a part with what's going on with Balin, is that Anakin's here. He's not over there with Thrawn.
He was offered to be the father, wasn't it?
He's not over. Yeah, he's not over there. He's not over there with Luke. He's not over there. Which Luke is the one who saw the original Force Ghost for Anakin.
Yeah.
He's not in that galaxy. Why is he here?
Yeah.
I have questions.
Yeah, with the Mortis stuff and Ahsoka, that's two reasons where it's like Ahsoka's important to him, but also the Mortis. Yeah, this is intriguing, man. Dave left us on the perfect fucking thing here to just leave us wondering. What a wonderful series, though. Just
phenomenal.
As a recap, I do have a couple predictions I want to throw out. I don't know if you had anything, but just as a overall, this series was absolutely incredible. I know I was early to jump and say I think that was more excited for this than Mando, and I think this is outlived for me because I love the Jedi stuff. So this is top shelf Disney for me.
Yeah.
This is.
You were saying I got to remind you what you said driving down to Vegas. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, and that's
I promised I would try to remind you
because we talked about in earlier shows that like our different fandoms ebb and flow. And
what are our current top 5 fandoms? We talked about that,
and I think we both mentioned Star Wars, but it wasn't as high.
It was down.
Marvel is probably higher than it because Marvel's been feeding us.
I had Batman over Star Wars for me,
but for me, this is Star Wars 100% back. I mean, in my watching, reading, listening.
That's what you mean by back. It's back in one.
It's number one.
Okay.
I mean, look at what I've watched. I watched the rest of Bad Batch. I watched all of Tales from the Jedi. I'm thinking about going back and rewatching Clone Wars. I've only ever watched it once. And I also want to rewatch all the movies. I haven't done that in a year or so, a couple of years maybe. So I'm so jonesing for it.
Yeah.
Star Wars it's just.
My timing was a little bit off. Sorry, sir.
Yeah, but between both of us there. But what do you think? Overall thoughts? Unless you have predictions as well.
Fantastic show, amazing story, an amazing cliffhanger.
Casting too.
Casting was phenomenal.
Dude.
Everyone knocked it out of the park. The fight was amazing. All the fights were amazing. Little nitpicky things here and there throughout. Nothing really that I'm like, ugh, this is stupid or anything like that.
Nothing really off-putting.
No, I think they built and added to the galaxy of Star Wars more than anything I've seen from previous Disney stuff.
Disney, yeah.
Like let's be perfectly honest. Everything with the Mandalorian is cool. We've always wanted more Mandalorian stuff and everything like that. But like you said, and I said it earlier, I'm here for lightsabers. I'm here for Jedi.
And it's building a little bit universe-wise.
Yeah.
In season 2 and 3, we started to build some stuff in Mando.
To get more of the Mandalorian culture that people have always kind of just taken for granted what it is and taken stuff from books and everything like that. We're getting official
the real, but
stuff.
I'm even talking galaxy-wise.
Yeah.
We're seeing a little bit into the New Republic. We're seeing about like
but so minuscule.
small. But I don't think that show is meant to do that.
No.
And I think they've evolved to doing that. This show, though, I don't think this is just building for another season of this and for Filoni's thing. I think this is building the entire 25-year window.
Yes.
Everything that happens in the next 25-year window up till The Force Awakens, this show is setting the fucking stage.
It's setting the groundwork.
And Filoni, who would know it better than Filoni, right? He set the Clone Wars, the Rebels, all that kind of stuff, along with Lucas with Clone Wars.
I think it's this and Mandalorian are going to be their pillars that they build off of.
Oh, for sure.
You got the real world, dark and gritty. Andor falls on that side.
The Han Solo and the Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. You've got the Han Solo
smuggler
side
that doesn't believe in the larger hocus pocus, and then you've got Luke Skywalker that's the Jedi. Like you've got those two elements both.
And that's what Filoni's built now. And look at what we've gotten. Mandalorian and Andor are over here. And I haven't seen Andor, so I don't know.
Andor, I would say, is way more in the political realm, so that's Leia.
There's your Leia. There's your 3 pillars right there for the 3 titular characters. You have Mandalorian, which is literally a mercenary, which is a stone throw away from a smuggler.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, he brings in smugglers and shit like that. Then you got the Andor, which is like political, and now you have the Ahsoka, which is the Force.
Yeah.
You have the 3 pillars for Star Wars. You've laid that foundation. What are we going to get from it?
I can't wait.
My 2 predictions.
All right, go ahead. I got a couple too.
I think the witches are going to create a bigger problem. It's going to get out of control, and Thrawn's going to have to get help. And I think that help's going to come from the other galaxy. I think it's going to come from Ahsoka and Sabine. And then my second prediction, I think Ahsoka and Sabine are purposely left there, and that we are going to get something with them and Balin. And I still think that Shin is going to side with them over Balin. He abandoned her. He left her. I think at this point, she's going to be her own thing. She may betray Sabine and Ahsoka,
Yeah.
but I think she is absolutely done with Balin. I don't think we ever see those two reconcile.
I could see that.
I think she's broken and she's pissed.
He's also chasing things that she's obviously not down with. Her reaction to witches makes me think she's not. I mean, she's obviously
the
using,
Mortis stuff. Yeah, exactly.
She's using the Force, so it's not like she's entirely like closed to the idea of supernatural. But she's not in
More witches.
Yeah, she's not in. She's not cool with the shit that was already happening, and he's just chasing down something way larger than witches.
Something that she's just like, nope.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, even if there wasn't that betrayal, I think no, she's not. She wouldn't be down with that. All right, so my predictions. I wonder, and this is I'm going to start with my smallest one. I wonder if Thrawn might be the one who redesigns the stormtroopers to the TFA.
Could be.
Force Awakens style, because as he comes out of this, his troopers are obviously so worse.
They
for the
need an
wear.
upgrade.
It turns into, hey, do we want to like find a place and start building armor or clone armor, stormtrooper armor? But would he not maybe go?
I have a few ideas.
Yeah, let's change it up a little
Okay.
bit. And not that it would be directly to TFA, but kind of like the clones where they evolve slowly. But maybe there's an evolution where you're now a step closer to the TFA.
Maybe he's taking notes from the stormtroopers and everything, like his stormtroopers, and now he's like, okay, you guys wanted it, here it is. Here's the, the one with air conditioning.
Yeah.
Built into the helmet.
Ahsoka is going to rebuild a second lightsaber. We didn't really mention that she did.
Oh,
lose
yeah, she
her
did
second
lose one,
lightsaber.
her offhand.
But I believe it's going to be blue. I believe she is now 100% back into the Jedi way. I think it was the Anakin baggage that really held her from it for the longest time. And I think she's going to fully embrace it. And I think both sabers might end up blue again. Because remember, she had the green one, then it went to the blue ones. And then down the road, we saw it white when she left the Jedi because it went from blue to white.
Yes.
But I think it's going to go back from white to blue, and she's going to be
a Jedi.
Part of the Jedi.
Okay.
Again. Now, my last one, this is the big one, I think. I believe, and I set some groundwork early on, I believe Thrawn is going to destroy Coruscant.
Ah, that's what you're thinking, is that he's going to destroy Coruscant. And so when they need a new capital, it's just going to, that's when it becomes
Mon Mothma is
the Chancellor's
Chancellor,
home.
So it's okay. Chandrilla. Later, she's retires, and then somebody else. Although nothing's been established with her in the book as well, in terms of, I know she ceases.
Yeah.
I think she's going to die. I think when Thrawn is just that knife that comes into the heart of the fucking Republic and just bombards the fuck out of the
You've said this before, yeah.
I think Mon Mothma is going to get taken out, and I think that's because like everyone's been talking about, well, how do you make Thrawn like whatever, dude? Mon Mothma is an original trilogy character.
Yeah,
she is the Chancellor of the fucking New Republic. If she got wiped out, holy shit! And also, you completely obliterate Coruscant, and now that sets up. Because originally, the reason behind the scenes why they did Ozzy and Prime instead of Coruscant is because JJ was going to blow up Coruscant with the Star Killer. And the story group's like, you can't destroy Coruscant. And so they basically had him adapt it.
Filoni's like, hold my beer.
And I don't think they're going to destroy it like planet gone. But I think like aerial bombardment, like at least like where the Senate's at.
Conquer it.
Or conquer it. Yeah, it could be anything. But I think that, because like, again, when everyone's, Shiono and all those people are sitting there arguing, oh, Thrawn's not real. Watch him show up on their fucking doorstep. So those are my predictions, and I don't know if these are going to happen next season or if it's going to happen in the Filoni movie.
Yeah.
But those are my predictions.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and hit the outro stuff real quick. If you want to email us, you can hit us up, either of us, Peter at geekeryabides.com or Tad, Tadd at geekeryabides.com. Next episode, I am actually leaving it blank. Because I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to be back to our normal time. We got the 21st at 4:15 Mountain Time. This one was obviously kind of strange because of our Vegas stuff, but we will be back normal time. The only questions are, the new Exorcist movie is out. We're going to go see that. It doesn't have great reviews, but if it's good and we maybe want to talk about Exorcist, we might do that. But we also did tease Band of Brothers. That was the thing we were going to be doing when Ahsoka took
And then
its
we
place.
realized Ahsoka was
So
needed its own.
I'm guessing it's going to be either Exorcist or Band of Brothers.
One of the two.
But if it's a Band of Brothers, it's because Exorcist maybe wasn't what we loved.
Yeah.
So that'll be the next episode here in just under a fortnight. And yeah, we will sign off as we always do by saying love what you love, to hell with anyone that hates that, and let your geek flag fly high. That is a really hard thing to say. What do you got to say, sir?
We're stronger together.
Indeed. See you guys.
Bye.